I've seen
thing.
people getting married like 6 months, 7 months into a relationship. Like what?
Well, I would disagree with Christian. I think that I wouldn't say divorce is inherently good at all. I'm a product of a child who's seen 2 divorces go through, and I think it is the breaking up of a family, which I don't think is great, but I think the alternative, obviously, of staying together and whether it be all of the unhappiness and toxicity in the home, is definitely something that needs to be looked at. Now, is it true that people are getting married younger in America, and that can possibly lead to higher divorce rates if they don't always think through 100% if this person they can live with for the rest of their life? Absolutely. I don't think that is a cultural, like, something that an immigrant group is bringing to this country. I just think that's something that we're all facing as a society.
Well, also,
together.
Marriages tend to crumble if there isn't the economic basis for that marriage. So people in poverty are more likely to get divorces. And the thing is,
immigrants are bringing divorce to America. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that the culture is changing, and a culture is fluid. It's going to change, but we have to ask ourselves, what is it do, and is it better or is it worse? And also, as far as like whether divorce is like a good thing or a bad thing, maybe there are some problems in marriages, and when the divorce happens, those problems go away. But maybe they don't go away. That child still has interactions with both those families. Like, I'm a child of divorce, and in my case, the problems only got worse after the divorce. I had both my parents pitting me against each other and sort of using me as a pawn. So just saying, they got divorced, now the problem's gone, that's a disingenuous argument. The problem
I wasn't saying that.
Well, so I agree with you here, but the thing is, like, you want these people to get out of relationships that don't necessarily kind of like enjoy or whatnot, or they don't find beneficial to themselves, or like toxic relationships and whatnot. And, this large increase in divorce can largely be attributed to women having access to divorce in ways that they didn't have access to before.
Victim, and you're like, oh, the poor woman, she doesn't have access to divorce. And like, really, should we feel bad for these people? Like, my parents used me as a pawn and pitted me against each other, a child, which could be considered child.
Well, what if you were...
Hold on, let me do this quickly. Thank you, King Jordan, for that. Thank you so much. If you guys don't know Jordan, follow him on Twitter. His Twitter is... I can't find a Twitter handle. I know it's like Jordan with like a couple underscores. Hold on one second, I'll pull it up. Let's see. Your Twitter handle is... Everybody follow King Jordan. It's J_OVO_RDAN. I'm going to copy the link and put it in chat for you guys.
Sorry, were you breaking up?
I'm personally the product of a toxic divorce and marriage too, but I would much rather have my parents apart than live in pain and toxicity for the rest of my life, and not just stay together for the idea of staying together and making it better, because I personally enjoy my parents being apart, even though there does come cons to it, and I will never know. You'll never know what life would be like if your parents stayed together, so you cannot argue that we should... I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to argue with.
No, I'm happy for
how was that a part of culture?
For you, but for me, it did not. For me, it was the opposite. For me, it got worse after.
But it could have been worse if they had stayed together. I know that they pinned you against each other. My parents did that too. I know how it feels. But having them both in the same household, lashing out at each other, the intense anger, where like I literally did not feel safe in my own house, was something that I just... Obviously, getting pinned as a pawn is not the best feeling at all. But being put in a house where you feel like your own like personal and emotional safety isn't present is almost worse. So I mean, I think it's like a bad situation.
Hold on, wait. Divorce rates are declining.
Since when? When is that time frame you're using? Because
since the 1980s, as of 2008, 40% of marriages are estimated.
Dude, this is such a dumb debate. Let's talk about actual cultural things that matter now.
So the culture.
30s to now. Divorce rates
I don't know how Eisen goes.
That's just you're just.
I mean, like, yes, we do live in a divorce culture. Everyone knows this. I think it's somewhere around 70% of all marriages end in divorce.
Only 40%.
It's only 40%. I thought it was 70. I heard somewhere around 70.
Okay, only 40%.
At least it's not the majority.
Well, yeah, relationships are really hard and complicated to maintain. Like, it's most relationships fail. Like, I don't think it's
I have a question. Do you think
divorce rate should probably be relatively high.
I'm sorry. What?
Could you produce it to maybe social media being there? Maybe that's why it's as high as now. They can't communicate. They're all on their phones. They're not giving it.
I definitely agree with that. It's a lot of different factors. The temptation is higher. It's easier. People are more comfortable with it. It's a lot of different factors. It's a lack of religion. It's a lack of a shame culture that we're losing.
Lack of religion is yes.
Why are we bringing religion into politics?
No, he's right. It is a
They
lack
come
of
together.
religion in terms of because it's like religions do frown upon divorce. So that's a good point that he's saying.
But I think that trying to prevent people from getting divorced is a net negative, because people
Exactly.
who are chronically unhappy staying together will not lead to a better life for the children. Like I know, Kira's little. I can't speak to your experience. I don't.
Let me give
know.
you a question.
Yeah.
Maybe it's so high because people were like, okay, I can always divorce them if anything, if I don't like it or whatever. They're
Completely. I don't agree with that. I think there should be. Yeah. No, for sure. And I absolutely think that, people should be thinking through this. I mean, like, and this is a beautiful way to put it, was like, when you're looking for a partner, like, every single thing that annoys you about them, that's what you're going to have to experience every single day for the rest of your life. So if it's not something that you can really live with forever, you just shouldn't, go through with that person. So I think it's something about that. Sorry, you go. Sorry, you're breaking up. Who?
Can we, Chief Trumpster?
Sure, yeah, no problem. There you go. You're unmuted.
No, not this kid.
Who's
Wait,
this
now-
kid? The kid who has
Hello,
facts on the
before
side?
we-
Oh no, not me. Feels bad. Anyhow, I remember the discussion was it started off with immigration. I feel like it got a little bit off topic to other areas and stuff. I think the immigration debate
Shade.
is something that should really be focused upon. And I feel like we get, there's a little bit of tangents that happen with it. But immigration, I think I'm sure a lot of people disagree with it, which is why I'm happy to be arguing the side of no immigration at all. I think it's important to discuss this, and I feel like that the position of having more immigration is the side of the Koch brothers and big business and all of these, interests not really aligned
That
with
was
the American
Bernie in
worker.
2016.
What happened?
Dude, okay, but I'm sorry. What's so dumb about this debate is what are we gonna do to solve divorces? Like, we're not gonna legalize divorces. Like,
Yeah.
I'm providing
like
access to
this
marriage
is such a
counseling.
dumb
That'd
debate.
be a
We should
really
have
good
a
one.
debate that actually has two sides.
I agree with that.
Wait, who is making that noise? That like
Who
crumble.
is?
It's
Everyone just be quiet and we'll see when active speaker pops up. Oh, it's progressive reasoning.
Oh shit, my
Mute
bad.
him. Get him out of
No,
here.
I can't mute him. He's
chill,
the
he's chill,
voice of
just-
everything here. Oh, he muted himself. I'll unmute him when he needs to
Jared
be
Holt.
unmuted.
I've so heard that name before. Just joined. Let me see what he looks like.
Jared
He's
Holt?
probably- yeah.
Oh,
That
I
guy's
think
the
I've heard
right-wing
of.
watcher.
It's not gonna be the real Jared.
It is
Holt.
not the
He
real
would
one,
not
it's not
put
the
his
real one.
name.
Yeah, guys, we don't have to talk about marriage and divorce. That was just a point. That was a side point I was making, that America does have a culture.
I've seen that dude somewhere before.
I think the initial thing was talking about immigration, and then it went to the culture side
Okay.
of it, right? Was that what
Oh, hold
happened?
Yeah.
on. Julia,
Okay,
Julia
but-
has a really good point on marriage. She says that we could promote teaching healthy relationships within school, like how to recognize red flags and such in sex ed classes.
No, we
Yeah.
do
Like
do
access
that.
to
We
marriage
do do
counseling.
that though.
I
'Cause
don't
I
know.
have-
Because sex ed isn't required.
No,
of
no,
that.
no, no. Because I
go to
had like a
The
week
debate-
of people came in to talk about like domestic abuse at my school.
That's never
Great, I'm
happened.
glad. That's not
never happened.
universal
Domestic
though.
abuse.
Literally
That's
never
not
happened.
universal.
Yeah,
So,
I go to
I agree
big
with you.
private
That should.
school. So
There you go, bud.
Exactly. Like public schools, most public schools do not have that.
I had sex ed at public school.
Well, sex ed, we're talking about like
Oh, okay.
signs of a bad relationship, and
Yeah, like family relationship.
it's the exact same thing as other topics. If you want to reduce something, just outline it. It's gonna stop it. You need to educate people.
Well, I mean, my question would be, in the past, if we look to like our history, divorce rates were low, and like we had a
because
lot more.
women couldn't.
Because women didn't have the opportunity to
The laws
divorce.
prevented them from divorce.
Women
like
were
men
lit-
could just beat
basically
their wives
objects
and like
that-
they couldn't do shit about
Yeah,
it.
what was it? The thumb rule of thumb. You know what that came from? It was if the circumference or not, if the diameter or the thickness of the pole was like thinner than your thumb, you could beat your wife with it and it wouldn't be a crime.
Well, I
Like,
mean, I think
that's points to that.
You know, in like West Virginia
Oh,
or
bro.
somewhere like that, it's still legal to beat your wife
Jordan,
on the
join.
courthouse steps
Jordan,
on a
join.
Sunday.
Jordan? Oh, we're getting
Jordan,
again.
join.
Get him in,
Jordan.
Jordan, what is up?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Base Pizza Face is back.
What is up?
Is it the siege or the fall of
Brother
Akron?
friend.
Mouth it. Siege or fall?
Yeah, get Jordan back in.
Fall? Okay.
I got Tim.
Is-
Oh, Jordan has a friend today. What's up, Jordan's friend?
Got Tim up here. I can't stay for long. This is my uncle. He is a theology teacher, very good guy, based Catholic, right here.
Hello, Jordan's uncle.
Yes.
I can go into some issues really quick if you want, but I don't have much time tonight.
All right,
Just
that's
talking
cool.
about divorce rates and that stuff, and maybe culture.
Yeah, about how divorce has affected culture. But again, my main problem with culture today is that we care way too much about people's feelings. Like, can I get some agreement there? Like,
Yes. 100%.
We have to
Okay, you want enough attention to people's feelings. Like mental illness is a really big thing, and we seem to kind of degrade that in American society.
but I'm talking about like the
propping
things
it up and
like,
whatnot.
like the whole like, I can't make certain jokes and
Oh,
stuff.
okay, all right.
what kind of
Like,
Well, I think that has to do with private versus public language. Like, you
like
can't
I
make the
could
jokes
like
in private,
dude, the
but
whole
if you're in
like
public,
Kevin
you probably
Hart
don't
getting
want to.
canceled for the
Stupid. No one thinks that was
Hey.
fucking like.
Well,
Why would he have the doll in the first place? Kevin must
I
have
think
bought
they're
it. If
doing-
you really look deep into the question.
well, when you
He
look
said
at
he was
What
gonna
else?
smash a
Progressive reasoning.
dollhouse over his kid's head. Like, you
But
can
who
take
he
that
bought
seriously.
the dollhouse though? That's the. I'm just.
No, he
looking
did not
deep
actually
into
buy a
it.
dollhouse.
No, I'm
no
just
way.
playing. I'm like looking deep
Oh,
into
okay.
like
What
the joke. It was required for him to buy the dollhouse to be able to smash it over his son's head.
What I
I got a question for you guys. So, like, if you went to buy a car and the car dealership said, hey,
Now cars
if you
are
buy
women.
this car, you can take this car back at any time you want and we will erase your debt. You can just come buy this car, and if you don't like it at any time, you can return it and we'll erase the note. It'll be gone. It'll be like it never happened. Would you be more likely to buy that car knowing that you could return it at any time?
Yes, but I think the
I see
point
what
of the
you're
matter
saying.
is, I see what you're saying, but returning a car and getting a divorce are very two different things, and the amount of emotional trauma that takes on both parties. Because I think we can agree that even if divorce is accessible, it's still not a pleasant process. I mean, I don't know anyone who's excited about going through the divorce process. So
Wait,
I mean, I
apparently
don't.
the marriage rates are
Everybody's getting
decreasing.
married.
The
Well,
marriage rates are decreasing, so that contradicts your argument.
Yeah,
It makes-
the divorce rates are going down.
when something is easier to get rid of, it makes
Wait,
people
wait.
more likely to
I have
jump
a
in.
question.
like-
Is it going down because people are less likely getting married, or is it like?
I don't know
because
why
less
it's going
people
down.
are
I just know marriage rates are
Well,
going
I
down.
think
going down
talk
because
about
less
it. I don't
people
think
are
they're
getting
doing
married.
it. I don't know. But my question, I just don't understand what you're trying to prove about divorce. What is
I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just trying to get you guys to think, like, why is there so much of it? Is it a good thing?
because it's available.
Yeah, because it's an
Also, I
option
think
by
we just have
society.
we have a culture today where people are getting married way too early.
No, it's
Exactly.
no,
Well, people
no,
actually are getting married later now.
No. If anything, it's the opposite. We're
Yeah.
at the highest rates of. We're at the highest average age in history in terms of when people are getting married.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
that's
no,
what
Jordan's
that-
right on this.
Oh, not young. I'm talking about early into a relationship.
He didn't, yeah, he didn't mean it to age.
I don't see that at all. I don't see people getting married too early at all. What I see is people who would like to get married, and the dating pool is so, like, I don't even know what the word is. It's so, like, affected. It's so negatively impacted by liberal society and neoliberalism and feminism and sexual liberation that you can't even find a good mate anymore. Like really,
Facts.
where our dating pool is from now is Tinder. Is that really where I want to choose a wife on?
I mean, it's your choice.
Man,
That's
these
where
hoes
we're
be
at right
playing while I feeling.
Also,
bro.
I mean, today I think it's pretty messed up that people expect me to suppress my what's the word, natural instinct to be a protective man to women. You know what
Right.
I mean? I get called
Somehow
misogynistic
that's
for that.
misogynist if you want to act. But see, that's also the other thing that came with the sexual revolution is if you want to be chivalrous, you're a misogynist. But
Yeah.
also, if you don't care about women, you're also a misogynist.
What do you
And
mean
it's like
chivalrous?
attack
As in,
for
like,
men on both
Holding a
sides.
door?
Yeah.
What I think you're
Yeah, women sometimes like flip out about that. It doesn't make
What,
sense to
like
me.
what woman? Like a very small minority?
a
No,
small-
it's pretty bad, bro.
Oh no! I mean, I've held the door for a lot of people. Never in my life have I gotten yelled at.
Well,
or, you know,
Unmute Amber.
Opening the door.
Or like,
Hey,
dude,
Amber.
you can't like talk to a woman today without her saying, "Okay, you don't have to mansplain it to me."
Exactly.
Unmute Amber,
Like-
Oliver.
Christian, woke
Half of
Yeah,
women are
just-
conservative, so where's this ideology that, like, you know,
And it's funny
that
that I'm on gallery view and I see Cameron agreeing with what I'm saying, so it's just kind of funny. Like,
Well, no, like, even if these people did exist, right? which they
Cameron's
do
a
to certain
Groyper,
extent, it'd
that's
be a
why we've
extremely
already
small
established
percentage of the
this.
population.
Okay, listen.
Already
you're
established this,
confusing-
Cameron.
You're confusing a small group of people and making it out like everyone is like.
it's not a small group of people though.
So if
Yeah,
you,
It's an
very
incredibly small group of
it's
people.
not like every single woman you're gonna meet is like, why are you holding the door for me? What's wrong with you? So there's some crazy people out
I
there
get
who's
called
never
a
gonna
shit.
be
Told by
told.
men
I
and
say if I-
women that
wait,
it's
I-
only a.
Lucas,
One person at a
Can I
time,
speak?
please.
Can I finish?
No, let's let Trumpster speak. He's been trying to speak forever now.
Yeah, I've been waiting. Well, I feel like in general, dating has kind of changed. A lot of times, in the older times, it was way more traditional and way more kind of intimate and and I guess relatable. Nowadays, it's very modernized and kind of corrupted, I'd say, by a lot of values perpetuated by society. It really is hard to find somebody you truly connect with. You'll find something on Tinder or whatever these other applications are on. It's like these relationships are just really not organic. They're not the same as opposed to other ways that people did traditionally back years ago. Social media has kind of also corrupted it too. There's a lot of different, I guess, avenues and ways that it's dating and even relationships in general get changed and got affected by this whole thing. Like nowadays people are on the phones all the time, texting and like, not really face to face, which I think is another divide that people have to deal with essentially.
Okay.
I agree, but you have to ask where that came from, in my opinion, and what it really came from was the sexual liberation of the mid '60s, and then you have to ask yourself, was that a good thing? I don't know. You look at where we're at now, and I would probably say no.
No, dude, like look at modern feminism, man.
I think there's a difference.
But
Okay,
it's not modern
there-
feminism. It all stems.
It's third wave
Between modern
feminism.
feminism and third wave feminism.
Third wave
There's a
feminism
huge
is
difference.
different.
I know about the first and second and third wave feminism, but it's much a lot like.
I don't even know what that means. All I know is when feminism first started, it was to get equal rights, and now what feminists want is power over men.
That's the first wave.
Well, feminists don't
we want
necessarily.
social equality.
Yes,
The
sir.
Social
different
equality.
waves
That,
of feminism are fighting for like different things. So like third wave feminism like is like stuff I don't agree with it.
I personally
Like the feminists now I feel like hate men
Yeah, it's about in the
and
back.
build it off of that and are like trying to
Base
use
Milo
it for
background
men.
check.
They don't
To
want
be
to
fair-
be they don't want to be equal. They want to be
They want to be better than, and
Well,
I think that's a lot of the things.
Let's go.
Once you start to grant rights solely based on group identity, you get into the boat where the group doesn't just want equal rights; they want advanced rights, and that's actually what happened with the civil rights movement. It went from we want to be able to vote to you can't say things, but we can. And that's where you get into
Are you
a lot
talking
of
about the N-word?
racism is like
No,
oh,
not the
white
N-word, dude.
people
Just
can,
like
you know.
a white man can't say anything, make any
Exactly,
black
you can't
jokes,
say
but black
anything.
people
Not
can make
like
white
you
jokes.
can't-
So it's kind of
No, he's right. Like white people, if they criticize black people whatsoever at all, get immediately like canceled or shut down. Like
And it
this
was
is
the
a,
same
this
with
is a
men and
perfect
women.
example. Wait a second.
Okay.
Like you and I, Lucas, this is an example. Like if you're at like work and you say, "Oh, white people can't dance," like everyone will be like, "Oh, funny." But if you say, "Oh yeah,
Funny joke
black,
there.
black,
Yeah, exactly.
black, yeah,"
Funny.
and if you say like, "Oh yeah, I don't know, black people are lazy" or something like that. I mean,
Then
obviously,
your
it's like
career-
completely out.
Your career's
You're out.
ruined.
In
You're
my
fired
You're
from
done.
your job.
So,
The
Job.
government might arrest you tomorrow.
so white
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
agree with
dude.
that at all, but you can't compare third wave feminism, which is a minority of women, to people fighting for social equality.
And also, like,
Equality
women
for
don't
what?
actually have the same equal protections under the law that is extended to like a race, and so that's why we really need what is called an equal rights amendment. And so if you're not familiar, there's a certain test that's called strict scrutiny, and that's used to basically determine whether or not a policy is racially biased. But that strict scrutiny doesn't apply to gender. And so what we really want to do is we want to apply that strict scrutiny to gender, and we can do that through like an equal rights amendment. So as a feminist, that's what I
about
support.
gender.
I got an immigration question for Christian.
Eight seasons. There's 8 on.
What's your
I
question?
want to hear the immigration.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so I have a good one. I have a good one here.
No, come on. Let
Okay,
what's
okay,
his
okay,
name?
I'm
Like,
sorry.
Curious
I'm sorry.
liberal, was it? Curious
Yeah,
liberal
yeah,
question, right?
and this is going off of last night. Last night we talked to somebody named Papa John, and he gave us a Cato Institute study that was in Texas.
I'll get him back in here.
About you can't hear me.
No, I said I'll
Yeah, we
get
can hear
Papa
you.
John
Oh,
in
yeah,
here.
We hear you.
All right, I'm sorry. So he gave us a Cato Institute study from Texas, and it was about who commits violent crime. Is it immigrants or is it American citizens? So I looked into this study, and what they had done is they arrested these Hispanic people for violent crime because it's Texas, a lot of Hispanics. And they asked them, are you an American citizen? They told them yes, and that's where they got the numbers. So I just kind of want Christian's rebuttal on that the numbers were self-supporting. And I think all of us might think of a reason that an illegal immigrant might lie if they were in police custody about being an American citizen.
I have a question for
I
you.
have no idea how that study works. I haven't looked
I have a
into it.
question.
I don't even really know about immigration
Can
and
I-
crime. Like, that's not my area of expertise.
I'll
I have a
drop the
question for you,
chat.
Curious Liberal. You do know that some Hispanics are born American citizens, correct?
Yeah, that's why I said that they're when they arrest them, they're trying to find out, are you an American citizen or are you an illegal immigrant? And they ask them, and they use what they answered as the official numbers for this violent crime study that everyone cites.
It's
Okay,
like any
so
term
wait,
of self-reporting is
can
not
I-
is not a good way to get stats.
Oh well.
Exa-
I just have a question.
Exactly.
Would you say
Well,
the
that's not
same
entirely
thing
true.
if the study was done on white people?
Would I what?
Would you say the same thing if the study was done on like white people?
Yeah.
Yes,
I would
dude,
definitely say-
listen, my school,
because
which
any-
is very white, a school. Wait, let me take this one. My school, a very white school, did a study, and it was a self-report on drug study to see what the population of kids using drugs at a school. It was all anonymous, and no one would get in trouble. But the numbers, I know my school. I know what the percentage of kids using drugs is, and the numbers were not accurate at all. Like,
So I'm not
it doesn't matter
arguing.
what.
I'm not arguing that it's a good thing. I just feel like your argument. I don't understand what the issue with
The argument.
Self-reporting is self-reporting
Yeah.
is
I'm
not a
not
reliable way to
saying
get stats.
self-reporting is a good thing.
Wait,
So,
can I add on to this?
Last night, Papa John was making an argument that most violent criminals are American citizens, and the study he cited was this Cato study from Texas. But then when I delved deeper into the study, I found that those numbers were self-reporting. So my point is that someone on the liberal side who's saying, "Oh, you guys are racist," blah blah blah, just because we notice these patterns, we're not racist, and we're just noticing patterns. He's saying we're racist, and he's using the study, but the study is disingenuous, self-reporting
Right.
numbers.
I want to quickly add on.
Who are
okay.
you arguing against with that?
Increasingly, racism is.
Well,
just
I wanted
pattern
to get
recognition on a
Christian's
racial level.
rebuttal on it, but he said that he didn't want to rebut it. So I guess it's just a moot
But
point.
he's
now.
not-
So I see like a lot of stuff online that says there is a reduction in crime among immigrants. Like it says research show lower crimes in immigrants. But I haven't looked at the study yet, so I don't know.
So I want to add a couple things. So I was very sleepy yesterday. I didn't really get much time to respond to Papa John. So Cato Institute is has all these studies and all that, which are purported and promoted by a lot of libertarians and a lot of these supposed right-wing people, and even some leftists who are more corporate. There's been a ton of statisticians and people who have been looking at the studies, and they all these studies are kind of a bit inherently flawed in terms of how they get the results. That one specifically is a lot of self-reporting and stuff. The studies I was referencing yesterday were all congressional studies and non-biased sources. I thought that his sources were somewhat relatable, but Cato Institute is really a Koch brothers funded organization which loves mass immigration and loves having more people every single year into our country, which benefits them, of course, not as much the American worker. But the congressional study was pretty clear that the study was over 600,000 STEM students here right now per year, and over 1 million in total. And all those people who are here are competitors because over 70% of them stay after 10 years. So they are in our country for 10 years after the study is conducted. It's like a multi-year study. And basically what that means is more competition for the American worker. And out of all those people, at most by that 600,000 number every 10 years, right? All those people who are in our country, those people have competition with people, and that is really bad for a lot of people who are trying to get a job, students who need jobs. Not it. That's not good. I thought these sources were, a bit higher up in terms of, analyzing it. But Cato is, I heard it was from Cato, and I kind of looked into it. Not really the best type of way of, not the best way of referring to something. The congressional study is the way to go. More of non-biased sources like that.
So I think the dilemma we're getting into, and I think the thing that I guess the false paradigm this is based on, is the fact that you guys think that there are a finite number of jobs in this country, and that if immigrants take the jobs, there won't be jobs for American workers. And that's just simply not true due to production and consumption. Basically, if there is more production, we will have to expand the company or organization to allow for more workers. Therefore, there will be more jobs available for people.
I think he's trying to get at like supply and demand. Like if there's more of a demand for jobs, there's going to be more of a supply. I guess that's what you're trying to get at.
Well,
right?
yeah, but if there's more of a demand for like a certain product or something, they're going to be forced to expand to create that supply, and expansion equals more, space for jobs.
Hold on. So I want to break this argument down a little bit. So you're saying the more immigrants who come here, the more of them who get jobs, the more jobs will become as a result of that. That's your argument, right?
Yes, production leads to consumption.
Let's say a company hires 10 visa workers and no American workers, or let's say even 10 visa workers and 10 American workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that company is going to hire more people over the next let's say 5 years? And let's say, how do you know that all of those 5 years of hiring new people, that those are all going to be American workers? And I feel like this is ideology basically, where you're saying that, well, mass production, supply and demand and all of that. You can't guarantee that all the people who get those jobs of the demand, even if that's even true, are going to be American citizens. There's no guarantee of that. They just hire a visa worker who works less. So yeah, that's a really big problem with that argument.
You're saying visa workers are here legally though.
Right.
Let's go, Oliver. My boy Liam is in here.
Here's the whole thing. The whole point, which I think I'll clarify that more. The whole point is we should have none of that happening.
Liam the merch guy, unmute him.
Wait, what? Can I finish this point? Okay.
Yeah, go.
The whole point is, again, when we have a mass influx of 600,000 per year with STEM students, that's more competition. And out of those 600,000 students, next 10 years, look in the future, over 70% of them will be staying here. They'll be having jobs, and that is going to be as we put more competition on the American worker, and really just hurting Americans in that way. The whole thing is that we should halt these visa worker programs, as Stephen Miller says, as well as Tom Scott, a bunch of senators. No, a bunch of senators, not just Stephen Miller. It's Tom Scott, a bunch of other senators who are also in agreement with this. Halt the EB-5 program, halt the HB-1 program, halt it, and how about we prioritize the people who are here, which include the immigrants that already are here. Let's prioritize them and not put more competition on people and make it harder to find a job.
But people that argue capitalism always argue that competition is this great thing and that we need to keep it.
So with competition, you know what that's saying, right? That's saying that you get beat out by a job from somebody who like a person, a visa worker, right? That person gets, by the way, if they come and work, the company gets tax breaks and money back for hiring a visa worker. So it's cheaper for them. They don't have to put in a bunch of specific requirements for American workers, like 401ks and other things that you would have to do for a native citizen. They don't do that for visa workers. They don't have to do that. It's not required or stipulated. So it's hurtful not only to the immigrant coming in, but it's also not really that. I think that argument's not applicable.
No,
I think Jordan's raising
Lucas.
hand. Jordan's raising hand.
I want to let Jordan go here because Jordan's been waiting.
Here's the problem. What I'm seeing here is where the Republicans and Kanye lose the forest through the trees. We're arguing about the minutia of economics, when what we should really economics should be viewed through a pragmatic lens. Whatever works in America, it should work. It sounds redundant. What we use as an economic system, we shouldn't base that on principle. It should be whatever works for the American worker. And then the only question you're left asking is, who is the American worker? In my opinion, that's the people that founded this country, and African American FBAs, as Tariq Nasheed calls them, foundational Black Americans who were brought here against their will. Here's the thing. We're over here trying to justify a system that then, if we use this tax loophole to benefit these people, you don't even need to do that. You literally just need to look at economics through the lens of what will benefit the American worker first and foremost. It's literally that simple. If you look at it through that lens, then you're not left saying, oh, we can't do tariffs on China because that would violate some kind of some principle we have about freedom.
A whole other argument.
Where do those gains go? They go towards the top and the bottom. There's no PAC. There's no super PAC for the middle class. And that's what I think America First is increasingly becoming. We're going to be a super PAC for the middle class, and we're going to help out the workers. And I'm not bound by any economic ideology. I'm not a socialist. I'm not even a laissez-faire capitalist. That's the thing. I'm for whatever works for the American worker, and I don't know why that's so hard.
Right, and also, by the way, to people who are for more immigration and these visa worker programs, you know who they are? They're big business, the Koch brothers, the big tech companies. These people are all for mass immigration. The people who are not for it are the American middle class. You have these conglomerate. You have a conglomerate of the lobbyist class, this donor class who love immigration.
That's why I'm not a Republican shill. That's the red pill I took a few months, or not a few months, about a year ago. Was when I realized
it's not like a left. It's not like an only left problem with immigration. It's a Koch brothers right problem.
So, are you guys arguing against immigration as a whole?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the idea that like immigration kind of expands the economy?
What about asylum seekers?
No.
They don't care. They don't care.
No, I would look in their eyes and say, no.
What about refugees from Syria? Would you take them in?
No, they don't care.
No.
Wow.
Curious liberal.
I mean, I understand where the American is coming from. Like it's going to put our citizens first. I understand that, but we as America went over. And we are fighting a war in the Middle East.
We shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be there.
Let's go out.
Yeah, I don't think we should be there.
Relax. You guys agree with coming out of the Middle East?
All right, guys, I'm back.
Oh, thanks.
Completely get out of the Middle East.
Get out.
Bro, almost no one on either side wants to be in the Middle East.
Well, that's not true.
Sorry. You go, Jordan.
Can I finish? Wait, I never answered your question.
I want to respond to Lucas specifically. Here's the thing. So you can point to the Middle East and refugees. One, we don't owe them anything because our side.
Yes, we do. We bombard the shit out of their cities.
Latin America.
Okay, then why are the Guatemalans coming to America then?
Because for a better life.
Because of the violence in their own countries.
They've overthrown their governments with CIA coups.
Responsibility to fix Guatemala. When did that become on America's moral?
What if you were in Guatemala?
All right, guys, this needs to be more civil. All right, I'm gonna have to start meeting people. Or someone's gonna have to go.
Hold on, let Jordan respond, and I'll respond after.
Can I respond?
Wait, but Lucas, I have a question for you.
Can I answer him first?
Okay.
And then you can ask your question. So you said
progressive reasoning in here. I like this.
What's up, brother? What's going on?
Hey, you're back.
Hold on, let Lucas talk. Let Lucas talk.
Okay, yeah. Can I answer? So you're telling me that I can point to the Middle East, so I'm gonna point to the Middle East. We came and we bombed their towns, killed thousands of innocent people because our military was trained that we don't have time to figure out who's innocent and who's not, who's part of
that's a lie.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Can we pause just for 1 second? I want to make this easier for everybody.
Yeah, let Jordan respond.
Does anyone at all know why the war started? Does anyone actually factually know why the war started?
Please don't go where I think it might go.
Wait, what war? What war?
Poppy seeds.
The war that you guys have been
Opium.
talking about for the past 10 or 15 years.
Opium.
Progressive reasoning. What war? I'm sorry. I was blanked out on my phone.
Opium.
The war
Opium?
that you guys have been
Poppy
talking
seeds.
about. Come on, bro. You guys are talking
Wasn't that,
about
dude? No, hold up. It was. Oh shit!
Can you just let him talk for a second,
Let
Ben?
Jordan talk.
Progressive reasoning, go.
I'm trying to answer his question. He's saying he don't
Bro,
know
fuck answering my question. Just hold up. Damn, nigga. Y'all be tripping.
Oh, I love this guy. What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? Y'all listen, cause everybody's just shouting claims and assertions. That's all I hear. Does anyone specifically know why the war started?
Yes,
at all?
I do.
At all. Historically, not what your opinion is.
No, yes,
Which
I do.
one?
Yes,
Which war are you speaking of?
Which war in the Middle East? There's about a new one every day.
In Iraq, the reason the Iraqi war started was because 9/11 happened and the current administration pointed at Iraq as a whole instead of Al Qaeda, which was not associated.
You have a bunch of people saying no, so I
Iraq was not even close to being involved with 9/11. I don't know where. That's not.
Actually, I'm literally finishing. So Iraq literally had nothing to do with Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda was not even based in Iraq. But we took 9/11 as a reason to start a war with Iraq, which then evolved into a regime change war that has literally destroyed multiple countries in the Middle East. That is what is going on. And that's why I believe that we caused this. It is
So you just hold up. You even just said yourself 9/11 happened. Even if what you just said is factually wrong, you said 9/11 happened, right?
Yeah. Why would I deny 9/11?
Okay. So to act like we just went over there and bombed people for no reason is ridiculous.
We went to war with Iraq because of a private terrorist organization.
Listen, bro, you're not understanding what I'm telling you right now. Before you made this claim and you painted this picture like we was just over there bombing people for no reason. Now fuck what your position is on 9/11 and who did it. You can't act like there wasn't a reason when there was.
Bateman is back.
You just admitted it.
I just told you the reason.
So their main point is one of the main points that the other side was trying to make is irregardless of all of that, let's back the fuck out right now. We don't owe shit to anybody. Fuck that. Let's back out.
I just have like a question for you. So I don't know, if you were living with a roommate, I guess, and your roommate destroyed someone's life, okay? This person that destroyed your life, then they came into your room and then they just stole all your stuff and wrecked everything that went on there. Is that reasonable?
No, the ends don't justify the means.
Thank you, bro.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if your roommate went and destroyed someone else's life, and that person came and then destroyed your life because your roommate, is that making sense? Because that's what's happening in the Middle East.
That's what you say is happening in the Middle East.
It's exactly what is happening in the Middle East.
You have much knowledge on
this is one of the most debated things ever. So to just you boiling it down so easily makes me suspicious. And I can't lie. I don't know the specifics of the war, but it troubles me that you just like you think you're so positive about this thing. When it has so much nuance to it. It has so much nuance to it, and you're trying to make it seem like we are just bombing. Like, hold up. One of the claims you made that is patently false. Like we don't give a fuck who we're bombing and this stuff, and we just bomb random people. Patently false. Modern warfare has to be the most rigorously passionate thing. And in my opinion, it absolutely causes death on both sides, especially of American soldiers, with how much red tape there is trying to be nice to this person, nice to that person, making sure we don't bomb this.
I think everyone can agree that we have no business being in the Middle East. I don't think anyone's denying that. But I think what I'm trying to say is that we definitely played a part in killing innocent people.
Okay, what's done is done.
Well,
so fucking what? Let's back out.
We can't just leave these people.
Here we go. Yes, we can.
Why can't
this
we?
Is the fucking the church of altruism is all I hear. This thing that we owe somebody something, bro. We don't owe anybody shit.
I would ask why.
Thank us for not bombing them more.
Yeah,
Lucas, let's just leave.
I would ask why. I'd ask why you think that. Like, why are we obligated to?
I think we aren't. I think what we should be doing is realizing that our involvement in the Middle East is wrong and that we shouldn't be there, and that what we should do is realize that we did destroy certain things, including people's lives, and we should not be denying refugees.
Yeah.
No, but hold on.
You kept saying we, like there's not individual people's bodies who have to go on the ground to make this happen. The soldiers that would get deployed now to do something about that has nothing to do with those soldiers that already did something before, bro.
Lucas.
You gotta understand that.
Look, Lucas, you gave two opposing points of view in the same sentence. You said that we don't have a moral obligation to help out the Middle East, but then you said that we do have the moral obligation to bring.
No, I didn't. I said that we don't owe them anything, but I think we do have a moral obligation.
So we do have a moral. we do have a moral obligation, according to you, to bring in everyone from the third world.
No, I did not say everyone.
Disregarding the impact that it has on the citizens, the workers.
You're giving me. You're acting like I said we should accept every single person in the Middle East and bring them here because you just said that we should bring in everyone from the third world.
Lucas, how do you call Lucas? So like, how many people? How many refugees? Like what number is your proposal? Like what is your policy about this? All of them? What number?
Yeah, like
how would we even tell who is a refugee and who just wants to come in?
By the way, there are a lot of these fake refugees on the Mexican border with ISIS propaganda.
Trumpster. Who's an economic refugee versus who's legitimately fleeing violence?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So
Like,
I believe that if you live in somewhere where you need to flee violence, that's a pretty valid reason to be
Well, how do you know if they're fleeing violence or just want to come
let me
here?
ask you this, Lucas. If we were to illegally migrate to Venezuela, or I'm not saying we would, I'm saying let's just say that Americans would migrate to a more peaceful country, do you think they would let us in, hands down, and let us speak English, and let us kowtow their economic system and their education system to us, or would we be kicked out immediately?
Wait, guys, Batman's in it. Wait, Batman's in there. You shouldn't mute Batman, boy. He's
Bateman. Yeah, dude. I told you to unmute Bateman.
I will unmute Bateman. I want to get
in one sentence. I'll wrap it up in one sentence.
Guys, I can't hear.
The benevolency that we're showing to the rest of the world will never be reciprocated in any way.
I know. I realize that. I'm not denying that.
Anyway, all the kindness we're showing to the third world, Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, China, Iraq, Somalia, none of this will ever be reciprocated.
I know.
Way.
So I'm saying.
I'm going to just leave you all with this.
Just let him finish, Lucas, please.
Pathological altruism is what is wrong with America and the West as a whole.
What was that?
And we feel like
pathological altruism.
Refugees, pathological altruism. Look it up. It's the concept of
a man must live for another man, or man must sacrifice his own for another man.
I can't hear him when you talk over him.
Dude, Lucas, we can all hear him.
Sorry.
Everyone else can hear. My only point is that the benevolency that we're showing to the third world will never be reciprocated. And you're fooling yourself into thinking that if you're just nice enough to the invading hordes, they'll be kind to you once they take over.
No, I didn't say that.
Go watch some Death to
We've
America
severely exploited
videos,
the third world. I don't know what you're talking about by benevolence. Like, we literally have created loans to these countries and basically artificially created debt crises in these countries to claim portions of their economy.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like our foreign aid has funded a bunch of dictators.
As if foreign aid was us acting in benevolence, you know.
Foreign aid is a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Creating,
all right,
loans to Zimbabwe.
All right, I will. Yeah.
I do agree with this. No, Jordan, I agree with you here. Is the only time we should be offering alliance or help to countries is when they can give us something back that is proportionate to that.
We need mutual reciprocity, and we're not getting. What are we getting from Guatemala exactly by taking in 2/3 of their?
Why are you talking about Guatemala? I'm talking about the Middle East.
Okay. Let him make his point.
That's where most of our immigration comes from. It's not. We're not Europe, bro. The problem with Europe is that they're taking in people from the Middle East, like we're taking people from Central America. Those are the two paradigms there. Obviously, Europe doesn't have to deal with Nicaraguans, just like we don't have to deal with Syrians that much. That's the thing. It's all third world migration going from south to north to better economic situations, better climate situations, better social fabric, frankly, until the
political situations, everything.
And then that's all going to
so, I want to let Liam, the merch guy, hop in because he's been trying to hop in for a while.
I'll be quiet.
Batman?
So, I don't think you understand the Middle East completely.
Cool.
I don't need.
Hold on. Let him finish.
No. Can you just let him finish?
All right.
He might be referring to not even you, Jordan. So let's hear what he has to say.
Jordan, I was talking to Lucas. So Lucas, there's many interests in the Middle East, and it's not just we're over there for oil or what do you think we're doing. There has been bad funding to bad leaders, and that's supply dictatorship. Absolutely, you're right about that. So countries like Israel, we give them money every day. They're a good ally. The reason why they're so important, number one, it's a great opportunity to land troops with Navy ships. We can literally hop into the Middle East with so many fleets right there because they're on the ocean. So they're very important with just if there was to ever be a war in the Middle East. So like that's just one big scenario right there. Now, interest in the Middle East, you don't understand that the people there are being literally held hostage. So I'm a Iranian. My dad immigrated here in the 70s. I can call my cousin right now, and he will tell you that he wants American soldiers in the streets of Iran.
Correct.
You know why? You know what the Iran government does to its people? They shut off their internet when they protest. They shut off their power when they protest.
That's what happens when you
They bomb them when they protest.
That's what happens when you.
That's what happens when you nationalize industry.
Yep.
That's part. My grandfather was shot in the head by an Iranian guard member for
That's insane.
Correct.
So I think what you're
It's a beautiful
We have
saying.
oppression in America.
Nobody loves seeing that American flag come over the horizon more than people in those situations. And it's been that way for centuries.
Yeah.
It's a sign of hope for them.
You do not understand the Middle East because you don't have, you don't have the right knowledge.
Okay, I
Then
don't
educate me.
Let me finish.
need to understand the Middle East. All I need to know is the shitstorm that's happening in America.
Go read something that isn't inherently anti-American. You'll see it, bro.
These are the kind of people that read like Howard Kurtz's what was the book? A People's Founding History of America.
Okay, what can
I don't know. It
can I
seems like
respond
in
to-
Iran, right? It seems like they rebelled against the American-backed Shah. Seems like the people rebelled against it.
So I think what you're confusing with what I'm saying is I think that there obviously is a certain I don't know. I feel like I don't.
I'm sure he wants it. Hey, do we have Bateman here?
Yeah, we do have Bateman. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to see if we can like shift this a little bit because there's a lot of people here. So I'm probably gonna start shifting a few teams. So a few people who have been. I'm first gonna unmute Bateman, but then I also want to kind of open it up for a few more questions. So Bateman, I guess I'd ask that maybe you don't jump in immediately and we just accept the question first, and then we can kind of see.
I have a personal question for Lucas.
Can I respond to his question fully first?
But then after Ben's question, we're moving on because this can go on forever.
I obviously am not the most educated on the topic of war and what's going on in the Middle East, but what I do realize is that obviously we can't just completely leave. Like that's immoral because these people aren't in a dire situation, and to just leave them there with these awful like dictatorships it's immoral. But what I also do realize is that some of the things we are doing there isn't making it any better.
So I don't think America's there to necessarily help these people.
I'd like to respond to that. So in your mind, it was more immoral when we entered into the Middle East. Now it's immoral if we leave. So either way, it was the whole entire thing was immoral. On top of that, I also want to say something else. You're trying to attribute the blame for the Middle East situation on the United States of America when they've been having problems for the last 300 years there.
Did I say that?
Hold up. On top of that, it wasn't us who funded those terrorist groups. It was Saudi Arabia. If anyone should take the blame for what happened in Iraq, it should be Saudi Arabia who backed the terrorists.
So
they also fund Hamas as well.
Saudi Arabia or
Here's the problem when we just leave the Middle East, right? These new terrorist groups, like we just defeated ISIS, we see that new terrorist groups rise up. And for some reason, terrorist groups love to fuck with the United States because we are the most powerful, right? So my fear, I need to do more research, but is that we get more like attacks on U.S. embassies and things like that. If we won't all together.
I actually think if we pulled out of the Middle East, the attacks would decrease, right? Like the reason why these terrorist groups are propping up against America is because we're funding the Saudi Arabian side of the proxy where it's going on right there. So terrorist groups are naturally just going to rise based upon that war.
That is true. True.
No one can account for the divide in focus that our army has. It is complete divide in our focus, bro. If we pull out of there, there's not going to be any fucking attacks. I'll make that claim.
I have an honest question. I want to ask people who are more geopolitically informed than I am. Do we really think that if we were to leave the Middle East tomorrow, that the Middle East would be able to form a formidable attack?
Fuck no. Fuck no.
So then why are we there? Why are we wasting lives, money, and resources?
Because of our.
That's what I'm saying.
Because of altruism.
It's not just altruism. It's this dumb dollar idea that we've been trying to prop up.
The petrodollar does play into
that we've been working in conjunction with Saudi Arabia with, which, by the way, the contract with Saudi Arabia ends in 2022. So I guarantee you're going to see a shift in American geopolitical activity within the next 2 years. We're going to start pulling out of there pretty soon because it's going to start to become irrelevant.
I'm willing to buy into that, but I'm Bateman. This is to you specifically. I'm not debating you. I think an addendum to your point is once we try to pull out, we'll get called anti-Semitic by AIPAC and the Israel lobby for not protecting Israel enough.
Yeah,
and I want that.
The big war lobby will do that too. A lot of the big war people are gonna do that.
Israel's exposed as the fact that we are their operating military, just like the EU. Just like the EU, this isn't an anti-Israel screed. It's the fact that Israel depends on us as their military, just like the EU does.
Everybody depends on us as their military, pretty much.
And the UN and the United Nations.
So I think.
You want to know something funny? Here's something funny I can interject with about geopolitics. I know this girl that I went to college with. Her name was London. She was from Nigeria, and her dad was a seated member of Nigeria's UN Council or whatever. And she was telling me how China is leveraging their contracts that they have with their government for their mine leases and their port leases and everything like that. And they also give them a lot of money for development of like roads and bridges and stuff. They're leveraging that to make them vote with them in the UN. And they're doing this to a lot of other countries too. So not only is America losing its global stance as the reserve currency of the world, we're also losing our global stance as like who controls the ports, if that makes sense too. They're trying to do a Silk Road 2.0 deal.
So I think that we all believe that in the end, what we want to do is end our involvement in the Middle East. I just think we're all trying to get there in different ways. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of over talking about this. So I think we should move on to a different.
Yeah, we can move on for sure. I don't want to go down a whole nother rabbit hole, but I know people were talking about immigration and kind of mentioned Papa John a lot. He is here. So, I mean, unless, I don't know. I don't want to go down too far on a rabbit hole.
Just one more thing. There was a joke, a gay joke. I think
whatever.
It's fun. But they aren't funny when they don't have a punchline. So if you're going to make a gay joke, I'll laugh at it if it has like a punchline and it's funny. But you gotta have some flavor, okay?
Okay.
Don't give attention.
Okay, whatever. Just don't look at the chat if you whatever. Okay. So I'm gonna start trying to open this up to more people who are raising their hands for questions. I don't know if we really want to keep a strict time on this, but it always turns into, we just talk about something forever because that's how this works. So I think we're gonna start up. Sorry, 1 second. What, Jordan? What?
In the next 10 minutes.
Okay, no problem at all.
Try to.
And if you want to make this a little more structured, why don't we say a maximum?
Oh, my mic was muted this whole time. Lucas, do you support ACAB?
Stop. We're not going down that hole right now.
Who cares?
No.
Shut up. Bateman, what do you think is a good time? Like 5 minutes?
Like maybe 30 minutes per topic. That way we can
30 minutes.
Stuff.
Lucas,
that might be a little much. I think 15 to 20
I'm gonna make
is good.
20?
Okay.
Then do 20. I think 20. I think 15 is a little too little because we have a lot of people
20.
here that'll probably want to.
True. All right, 20. So I'm gonna go to see who's the first person up here. Cartlos. So I'm gonna unmute you. You're welcome to just state your question and position, and people can respond to that. So here we go.
Hello, you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, this question is actually about the Middle East.
Oh, all right. I mean, can we, I'll set a timer for like 7 minutes, and we'll just 5 minutes.
Make this one 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, it's an easy question. Yeah.
So,
what do you guys think led America into the Middle East? And I'm not just talking about Iraq. I'm talking about the whole region.
The petrodollar, so that we could.
Yo! Jordan muted himself by mistake, I think.
Yeah, unmute Jordan.
Oh, he did?
Unmute Jordan.
Sorry, my bad.
Here would be my.
Can we start a new topic though? I'm done with Middle East.
Yeah, this will be my quick.
Five
1 minute.
minutes. 5 minutes, and we're done.
It's literally give me 1 minute. It's because we wanted to control the number one commodity in the world, which is oil, and have it pegged against our dollars, so that when people exchange the largest, the largest commodity in the world, we get a cut of it.
So
it causes liquidity flow for the U.S. dollar, and that's the main reason we're there, in my opinion.
Can we discuss one government policy document really quick that I think is probably one of the most determining factors that we've probably seen in the last 100 years? Are you guys willing to go down this hole? Have you guys ever heard of
You can go down the hole, Jordan. I'm going to stay at the petrodollar place.
Clean break memo? Has anyone ever heard of that?
Someone just put that in the comments. Yeah.
No, but it's true though. The reason I'm going with that is because it's actually a good point. What we're doing right now, the clean break memo laid out the 7 countries that we would invade, dominate, and steal their resources from. You look at who wrote it. I don't want to go too hard. There are some people who are a little bit more informed on that. I think the delegate could probably do it. Basically, what we're doing right now in terms of policy is we're following the clean break memo. We've overthrown Libya. We're doing Syria, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. We're doing it.
Somalia. The only one left on the clean break memo, even though I have no clue what Jordan's talking about. I think the last one on the clean break memo is Egypt, but I don't know what he's talking about. I have no clue what he's talking about, though.
Yeah, it might be Egypt.
Dude,
I mean, it's Egypt, but I have no clue what he's talking about.
Better than me. I want someone to go better than me on this one, because this does actually determine where we're going in terms of foreign policy. The clean break memo literally lays out, it maps out where we're going to invade next.
I'm sticking with the petrodollar.
So we can just like ignore that topic, but it is a legitimate topic.
I thought
all I'm saying is, if you see the U.S. invade Egypt anytime soon or Iran, then
can I get based Catholic in here?
Yeah, sure. Maybe we need someone a little less optimistic.
I think we need to rotate though. Like we have way too many unmuted.
Okay, just to let you know, there's based Catholic memo. There's 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes, so I'm gonna let him talk because he seems to be informed.
Based Catholic.
I did. He's unmuted.
Hello.
Catholic memo, you're unmuted.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we were talking about the clean break memo. The clean break memo was written by Wolfowitz, Thief, Pearl, all these people. It was presented to Bibi Netanyahu and his government in the 1990s about a plan for the new Israeli century and what that would look like. Israel was done with defensive politics and treaty making with their neighboring countries. What Israel wanted was for these stable, secular dictatorships like Iraq, Syria, all the surrounding countries to not be able to unite and not be stable and not be strong in their projection of power outwards. Therefore, they created this memo and presented it to the Bibi Netanyahu government. All of those, this happened in the 90s. All of those people then, magically after George Bush got elected in 2000, worked for the neoconservative George Bush administration. There was a special office called the Office of Special Plans in the Pentagon. This office had a direct line from Mossad to deliver fabricated intelligence about, we all know this, Iraqis, WMDs, remember that? That was all fed from Mossad straight to the American government to hype up the American people to go to war. Now, the thing that was also mentioned in that memo was that the American people would not go to war for Israel organically. They needed something like a Pearl Harbor. Well, what happened? 9/11 happened. It had who were the hijackers? Saudi Arabians. Who was the guy behind it? An Afghani. But we went to war with Iraq. That doesn't make sense. Well, it's because it was in the clean break memo. The clean break memo was about destabilizing Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Iran, Egypt eventually, but Egypt is on good terms with Israel now. And I forget the other one.
I have a question for based Catholic or whatever.
Hold on, let me just finish the spiel.
Before you finish the spiel, since you're naming off countries, I was just Googling this, and this weird term came up called the Yannan Plan. Have you ever heard of the Yannan Plan? I've never heard of it.
It's yeah, I've heard of such things, but for now, let me just finish this. Let me finish this.
This will probably be the last explanation.
Yeah. No, Oliver, I didn't want to go into another thing. I'll wrap this up.
Totally. No, you can go. You can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Go.
So this plan was the Iraq war. It was asked before, why are we in Iraq? Why are we in the Middle East? Why are we in Syria now? Why are we fomenting tensions with Iran? This is not an American interest thing. No American is pro-war in the Middle East. This is an Israeli thing. And with the help of Saudi Arabia, they're an our other ally in the Middle East. Israel wants these countries destroyed, destabilized. They want to turn them into tribes. Israel has said they would rather have
3 different states. That's what
Israel has said that they would rather have Iraq and Syria governed by ISIS than the governments of Bashar al-Assad and Saddam Hussein. Well, bring in America, infiltrate their neoconservative government under George Bush, and they stayed during a Barack Obama. And we've been at war with them ever since, despite the majority of Americans on both sides of the political aisle being anti-war. Donald Trump was an anti-war Republican.
Yes.
Barack Obama was supposedly an anti-war liberal. Both of them were still at wars. George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump. Doesn't matter who we get in there. This is because of the Glean Break memo in the 1990s. So everybody in here debating about oil, or it's because we're white and they're brown, or any bullshit like that, you were completely, you were totally ignorant about the history of the geopolitics of America of the past 30 years. Clean break memo, Israel, neoconservative lobby, Bibi Netanyahu, and George W. Bush.
Well said, and just to add on top of what he was saying, I was Googling this plan, and though I think it's mostly about the petrodollar, I found this term called the Yinon plan, YINON plan. And I would say maybe people should Google that. I don't know what it is or what it's about, but you might want to Google it.
And also the Samson option.
Awesome. Okay.
You might want to Google another thing called the Samson option.
Okay.
Or the third temple. Or the third temple.
Yeah. Or Moloch.
All right. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Great. I think we're going to try to move on now. So thanks very much.
Thanks for giving me that opportunity. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. Just let us know if you want to, have anything else. So here we go. All right. So let's see what else we have here.
Let's get a real shift, man. Let's get some people that really have been waiting. There's a guy who says he's been waiting for like an hour.
I don't know which guy. I'm trying to figure it out. I have hands raised. I'm going to the hands raised top to bottom here. So this guy named Jack. I'm unmuting Jack if Jack wants to talk. If he has a topic, I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes if it's like a long topic, or maybe it's a quick question. So
I'll mute myself.
Jack, you are unmuted, Jack.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, so I got a different topic. I was going to talk about immigration. I don't know if you guys already talked about it tonight or not, but
yeah,
I was just they say you don't want to hear about that conversation.
No, it's okay. We'll make it like 10 minutes. We can talk about it for like 10 minutes.
Okay, got you. Well, anyway, I was just going to kind of take a stab at this prevailing idea that like America is this like eternal nation of immigrants. Well, first of all, back in like when the country started, the founding fathers were very much suspicious of immigration. And if you actually look up the Naturalization Act, you'll find that a lot of their immigration policies were pretty similar to a lot of immigration restrictionists today. And for the first 100 years of this country, we very reluctantly took in immigration. Like there were protests because the immigrants coming in were not from England. Not that they weren't from Europe or that they were, not white, but that they were specifically not from England. But anyway, and then it wasn't even until 1908 that the term the melting pot was even first coined. And it was coined by a non-American. His name was Israel Zangwill. And even then he was describing, as he described it, a great, I know it's a silly name. He in his play that he wrote called The Melting Pot, he described America as the great crucible, he called it God's crucible, where like all the great European races, quote unquote European races, were all mixing and reforming. And then it was so disastrous, the amount of immigration that we had from 1880 to 1920, which is what you hear about when you hear about all the Italians coming over and all the Germans coming over and et cetera. That was so disastrous that in 1924, they signed the Immigration Act of 1924, which basically put a limit of like 150,000, which is basically nothing. And this lasted for 40 years. It was basically an immigration moratorium.
1965.
Up until 1965. And what caused 1965, what caused the Immigration Act of 1965, also known as the Hart-Celler Act, to happen, it was actually pushed by John F. Kennedy. When he was still a senator in 1958, he wrote a book called Nation of Immigrants.
I just got back. Can I know what we're talking about now? Like, what's the
Oh
topic
my
right now?
Immigration.
Listen. Immigrants in the 1965 Immigration Act, the Hart-Celler Act.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
I don't know
so
anything about those things.
John F. Kennedy described America as a nation of immigrants, but ironically, he wrote this while the immigration moratorium was still in effect. And by the way, he wrote it as part of a book series for the Anti-Defamation League. This was when he was the senator in 1958. And it wasn't until 1965, after he had been shot for whatever reason, an LBJ signed the 1965 Immigration Act. Then that's when this kind of completely astroturf thing of America being a nation of immigrants, that's when it started. And so that's just kind of my spiel about how we're not a nation of immigrants. So I just want to hear what you guys have to say.
I don't think I necessarily agree with all of that. It seems like the United States has let in a lot of immigrants, especially with the opening of Ellis Island in 1892. It does seem, though, that the United States has, kind of disregarded certain immigrants. We had like the Chinese Exclusion Act, and then we had the Immigration Act of 1924, which was aimed at reducing the number of immigrants from minority areas. But it was kind of aimed to increase well, not necessarily increase immigration, but to maintain a good level of immigration from European countries. So I think we are really a nation of immigrants.
Yeah, but you understand the economic
exclusionary policies.
Okay, but the thing is, the economic factors that were going into place when we needed all those immigrants was we needed them for the coal mines and we needed them for the increased production capacity during the Industrial Revolution.
Okay, I don't want to be that guy. We went on for immigration for so long last night. Can we please do another topic, please?
We implemented an immigration policy in World War II to allow a lot of Mexicans to come in because to fill the labor shortages.
Guys, all of last night was basically immigration. Please, another topic.
Yeah, let's do another one.
On that one, because that's literally incorrect what Christian said.
Well, no, it's not correct. I have all this data right here.
Which data? Like what source?
Well, I've got like the whole immigration timeline. I've got like some of the effects and stuff like that.
Where were the labor shortages? We've had a population of over 300 million since 2005.
The Bracero program, 1942. That was made in an attempt to address labor shortages during World War II.
If I can, you criticize me for not letting you finish. I actually do let you finish, but here's my thing. We never had a labor shortage. What we had a shortage of were people who were willing to work for less than or at minimum wage at less than optimal working conditions. Now, whether or not that benefits the GOP and Republicans and the Con Inc. that you stand for, so be it. What I'm saying is that we have a working class that wants to do the jobs. They just don't want to do it for pennies on the dollar, bro. We have a group of people, i.e. African Americans, who want to do jobs for a respectable wage, good working conditions, ability to unionize. Did you not hear what Jeff Bezos, what the leaked Amazon memos came out with the other day? Bezos was caught on camera saying, if we diversify our companies, that makes it less likely that they'll ever unionize. Think about that. The more diversity we bring into our companies, the less solidarity the workers have together. That's society as a whole. That's society as a whole. People will not unionize. People will not group together if they don't feel connected as one. We have
Okay, dude.
Black and white. That's the nation's history.
Wait,
yes, but guys, this is something
wait,
that we
Ben,
are
let me
never going
respond
to
real
agree
quick.
on. So, respond, and then let's just close this argument.
Okay, so you're kind of arguing more present-day immigration. I'm specifically talking about the Bracero program that was implemented in 1942 to address World War II labor shortages because a lot of men were drafted into the war.
We have labor shortages right now.
But there are no labor shortages. There never have been any. These were false labor shortages that corporations said existed to lower the wages of hardworking Americans, blacks and whites.
I want to just say that for the international corporations in the world, they're always going to say that there is a labor shortage. Whether I believe that labor shortages are real, but they have an insatiable appetite for cheap labor. To them, there's never enough labor.
Correct.
Right. That's why big business, big tech, and the Koch brothers all love immigration for it. It helps their bottom cause. Less money to pay per person per worker.
Let me jump in here because that's the role, in my opinion, of America First, and frankly, the Nick Fuentes movement is weird.
I'd like to jump in.
Standing up for the worker and not the corporation.
I'd like to jump in.
Okay, but we're going back into this, guys.
Amazon literally did a study on this just last year because they didn't want their employees to unionize, so they hired a research company to determine what main factors could reduce people unionizing, and the number one factor was increased diversity.
Bateman, you're right. If you increase diversity, you decrease the likelihood of the workers unionizing. Who wants less worker cohesion? It's not the workers, it's the bosses that want less worker cohesion.
And that study actually came really relatively new. Actually, that was really recent. That study that came out.
Yes, it was.
It was
Okay,
like
guys, before we keep going back into it, let's just end this topic.
Hey, I'm the new host because Oliver has to leave for a couple of seconds. So if you want me to unmute someone, just tell me now.
Okay, so look at participants and unmute someone with their hand up.
Okay.
Lucas wants unmuted.
You're Lucas.
Unmute progressive reasoning.
Base Catholic. I want base.
Yes, unmute progressive reasoning. He's cool.
Okay.
Progressive and based. Progressive and based.
Yeah, Cole's cool. Okay.
No, dude. Let's just. We have to mute some people, to be honest.
I unmuted progressive reasoning. Who do you guys want me to unmute?
I think anybody else they want to unmute.
Lucas, I'm unmuting Lucas. Lucas.
Gender. If you have a penis, you're a guy. If you have a vagina, you're a female. Debate's over.
Well, that's not accurate.
That was quick. Yeah, that was good.
Yes, it is.
We're good.
Well, I mean, we can go from that, but so.
Wait, so here's the joke that I wanted to make earlier. So you know how people who are feminists, or sorry, people that are for female power are feminists, and then people for transgender power are delusionists.
Well, okay.
All right. How about we mute, bro? Can you please?
Where did the idea? So why is there only two genders? I've always.
Because the whole point of us is to have his man stick a penis inside of a woman and reproduce. And there's only really two for that. There's no middle man in that action.
There is a middle man.
But the thing with intersex is one organ usually works.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but intersex people have different chromosome compositions.
They prove the rule. The fact that they're an exception proves the rule.
Yeah,
people can have deformities. If you open up an anatomy textbook, are you going to see a person who has 12 fingers on their hands? Because that happens sometimes. Would you say, hold on, I have a question to you. Hold on, please, guys, don't interrupt me. Would you say that human beings have 12 fingers?
Even if you did see someone with 12 fingers, should you really cater society towards the 12 fingers?
No, but what I'm saying is
yes, because we care about their feelings and their extra 2 fingers.
No, but is catering to society meaning just allowing them to live as they choose?
No one's saying kill them. But what I am saying is don't let them have their own bathrooms, and don't let me be called a transphobe and be fired from my job if I say, hey, the norm.
That's actually wrong. People get fired from their job for being transgender. And
oh Lord,
do you even have a job?
Good. You know how much affirmative action there is?
Transgenderism isn't supported by affirmative action.
Even Cameron is saying you're wrong, bro. Come on.
Okay.
Cameron doesn't have rights. I'm just kidding.
Cameron, we got to now.
The past few days, an Obama era policy that restricted medical officials from denying people for being transgender for treatment of anything, not just gender, like for example the coronavirus, just because of their gender identity. This was recently repealed.
Does that apply to public or private businesses?
Private. Anyone can.
Why? That's wrong. Fine.
That's
if I'm
wrong.
A doctor and I don't want to have to see, if I'm a doctor and I don't want to have to work on a transgender person, I have the right to not work on them. But
yeah,
you can deny access to anyone.
So we are in the middle.
You can literally deny access to anyone. That's the same. That's the same reason why a baker can deny access to baking a cake for a gay club.
It has not been passed yet. I don't think it'll be passed until coronavirus is over. I agree with you. It was passed?
Yes.
I was just talking to Devin and he said it was not.
5.7 of Obamacare.
Yeah, I was just talking to Devin. Yeah. He's one of the smartest people I know. So yeah.
It's okay if I was a doctor, just because I'm transphobic.
Yes, because you privately own the practice. It's a private business. That's capitalism.
Shit last night.
Protected classes exist, Ben. Transgenderism isn't one of them, but they should be. That's the argument here.
So
What?
No, they shouldn't be because they're delusional.
My question for you is: during a global
everybody just
Can you refuse service to someone based on, like with a mental disorder? If you're like someone has a heart attack but they have a mental disorder, should you reserve them
isn't
service
it
based on the
already
mental
on
disorder?
law that if somebody has a life-threatening situation, they can't
Yeah,
be
but we're
denied
talking about
medical
private
service?
practice, like going in for a check-in.
All right, so then,
I'm talking about the coronavirus. If you're
Go
transgender,
to a fucking hospital if you have
Go to a
coronavirus. Why would you be
hospital.
going to a private practice? Go to the emergency
the
room. Like
doctor
what?
at the hospital can turn you away because of your gender.
No, they.
Yes,
Not
they can.
public.
It just passed.
Not at a public hospital.
Not a public hospital.
Please, can we please everybody slow down so that Lucas understands this? There's a difference between a public and a private organization, bro.
Okay, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that's not even what I'm arguing. It's just using that as an example that was just repealed. What I'm saying is that I do not understand where the idea that there's only two genders, even though the World Health Organization doesn't even agree with that.
I can
You know, the World Health Organization also said that coronavirus wasn't infective at all, and coronavirus was perfectly safe.
I don't believe that, man.
And it, I don't.
They said that.
More to a point that no one's made yet. Logistically, do you understand the ramifications of including such a fucking thing in the actual structure of organized society, bro? Like, it's one thing when we're talking about people interacting day to day, but on paperwork, on documents, on licenses, passports, come on, bro. You got to see how that just leads to absolute. Our system already works bad as it is. You want to throw that into the mix?
The flaw in Lucas's problem is it's been this way since the beginning of history. So I understand why you're saying why, because it's been since the beginning of history.
No, that's actually wrong.
Good argument.
In Native American societies, there existed people that were choosing
Native American
where they cannibalized people and did human sacrifices, bro.
Yeah, let's do human sacrifices.
But there was also you're pointing out the bad parts. You can point out the bad parts of European history as well.
No, we're just trying to be logically consistent here with what you're trying to say. Because listen, if you're pointing out a part of their society, but we see that parts of that their society wasn't like very great. I mean, it wasn't. It's not desirable. It's not desirable. I mean,
I'm Native American, and I go to my reservation. All I do is smoke weed. They don't do shit. It's a fucking shithole there. Like, it's terrible.
Absolutely. Give them some capitalism, baby.
Yes,
we're laissez-faire. Guys,
exactly.
I think we're gonna try to move on to another question now because it has been a while, and I don't really think this is going to get anywhere.
Laissez-faire. Out here collecting liberal tears and shit.
So I'm going to just go to the hand raising section.
Laissez-faire capitalism.
Absolutely. Delayed Patriot, you are unmuted and can talk.
Hey, I'm out of here.
Hey, anybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
Hey, I was actually wanting to talk about earlier on. Y'all were talking about the Iraq wars and stuff.
Oh, dude, we can't with that anymore.
I know. So I'll give out mine. I just want to give a shout out to Jordan real quick. You're one of the real ones, and to Base Catholic. Y'all both dope.
Would you like to talk about another topic though? Like bring up another topic to talk about?
Nah, man, I'm just listening, playing Vampire the Masquerade right now, man. I'm just chilling now.
Please click on this kid. Okay, he's been waiting for a while.
Lucas left.
All right, sounds good.
Asian kid. Please click on that kid. Okay, he's been waiting for a very long time.
I'm trying to. All right, you're unmuted.
Hey, I have a question about why we give $3.8 billion to Israel every year. Like, I don't know. It's just like I just don't understand like what's this like Israel's the greatest ally thing, and like we must like support them like at all cost, like that. Like
based
Asian.
Agreed, bro. Agreed. I don't know.
Oh, hold on. So could you answer my
question?
Because
I don't know. Because people say if like we don't support Israel, we have no ally in the Middle East. I'm not saying I agree with that, but that's something that people say. So.
In order to understand the Israel situation, you have to understand the largest lobbying group in the American Congress, which is AIPAC. And basically, I don't think that our conversation here is sufficient to cover that. So you might just Google AIPAC and maybe a few other things.
Dancing Israelis.
Oh boy. I would say also with we give so much foreign aid to all these countries and all that, and foreign aid has not really been the I guess the path that we should be doing. We give so much foreign aid to all these countries that really don't have our interest at heart. Ranging from not only it's just a lot of these countries, we shouldn't be giving any money to them at all. I'd rather that money go right to our own citizens and be implemented in ways that benefit our country more.
Yeah.
I think we can use that money better. I don't think we should be giving all this money. We give so much money to all these countries. Like we shouldn't be doing that at all. I really don't think foreign aid is the right way to doing things. Not a fan of it.
So I think we're all in agreement here.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
pretty
sir.
sure.
Yeah, we had to get like someone like these neocon shills on like Nick videos. I want to bring them on and let's talk about Israel, man.
Let's talk about capitalism.
Dude, you're our guy.
I think Nick Video has blocked me on Twitter. Nick Video has blocked me on Twitter, I think. I don't even know what I did.
Right.
I think I'm gonna get blocked.
All right, so are we moving on to another question?
Let's move on.
Yeah, probably move on.
Question. All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, dude, for your input.
The
All
delegate,
right, let's
please.
move on
Yeah,
to...
I think that's got Cole's talking. I think he disagree or something.
Which one?
Cole Christ.
And then there's a guy named
Christ.
O who's been holding his hand up for a while.
Cole Christ is.
All right, Cole Christ first.
I got
Cole,
you,
you're
O. I
muted.
see you,
What do
brother.
have to say?
You hear me? You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
All right. I just want to say something really quick before I get to the new topic. Whoever said like, why is there two genders? Like, come on. Like, there's only two genders. Like, give me a break here. It's just basic science.
He already left, so there's no point.
Oh, okay.
The rage quit on us.
All right. We're all in agreement then. I think like a new topic that we should talk about it. I think everyone's like this, like morality in government and like the part that religion plays in politics. I would say that religion play a bigger part. I'm sure libertarians would disagree, so I think we'd have a good discord on that. So if anyone disagrees that religion should be a bigger part.
I mean, I think values play a big part in politics, and I think people's religious values can be a bonus, but I don't think we should just fully implement a specific religion.
Well, yeah, I
Separation
agree,
of church and state.
like gay marriage, like that's an issue that a lot of like neocons and libertarians especially say like, oh, well, you can't bring your religion into politics, this and that, just because you believe XYZ doesn't mean that everyone else does. But if anyone disagrees, like everyone who thinks that way, maybe.
No. Religion, I feel separation of church and state is crucial just for the development of our society, that I don't think we should be writing legislation based on religious beliefs. Your religion can govern how you live, but I don't think it should govern how others live in your mind.
Well, do you agree like that there's an objective morality?
Well,
yes,
Christians don't believe in like theft.
Okay, so you do believe there's an objective morality. So if there's an objective morality, there has to be an objective right and wrong. And you have to, if you're a legislator, you have to legislate based on that objective right and wrong. Because if you're not legislating off that objective right and wrong, then you're using subjective morality, which is wrong.
That's using ability.
So what's your point?
So my point is that you have to, whenever you're faced with a question like, if I'm a legislator and someone says should gay marriage be legal, I have to look at the objective morality of homosexual marriage, which two homosexuals can't get married because marriage is a religious thing, and you have to look at the societal consequences of, well, what happens? So if they adopt children, it's going to be kids without a mother or without a father if it's like a lesbian couple. You have to look at, it's also going to be on public display, something that you think is morally wrong. So you can't just take that out of the question when you're faced with
this. Why does the government decide who is married?
Yeah, why does the government decide who you marry? That's my question too.
What do you mean? Why does the government decide? Like the government issues marriage licenses.
Why should they have the right legislation?
Governmental marriage is.
Do I have to read the first fucking amendment again? Like the first thing ever written down was separation of church and state.
Read the First Amendment.
All right,
because
I think a path
the modern interpretation, the libertarian interpretation of the First Amendment
marry a
is
gay
that we have
person
to
against
protect
their will.
government
Should they be
from.
crimed?
Say
that again, Tim.
Should they be punished?
a pastor doesn't want to marry a gay couple, should they be fined or whatever?
No.
But they have the right. Gay people have the right.
I completely listen. This is what I do agree with. I agree that a pastor can turn down a gay couple if they don't want them in their chapel to get married. I completely agree with that.
I agree with that. That's
I completely.
Churches aren't government. Listen, churches are not funded by the government, so they have the right to refuse whoever they want.
I think they should have.
We're missing the main argument here. Should marriage licenses,
guys,
and tax incentives be part of marriage? Period. That's the main question here.
Yes.
I'm kind of liking what Hungary did, so I don't know.
Exactly. Look at Hungary.
What they do?
They basically use government policy to subsidize and incentivize creating large families, and it's paid off tremendously.
That's great.
That's what America should do. Their native birth, or
you say that's not what America should do?
No, that is what America should do. That is what America should do.
Okay,
I believe in American people.
Yeah.
I think we can shift the culture to do that. I don't think the government has to mandate it.
Well, the government has a big part in, if you like. All right, so obviously, I think everyone can agree that like the '60s is where the culture in America really started to like decline morally, like the second revolution started, stuff like that. This government actually played a big part in that with the CIA. If you
Completely.
I don't know if anyone watched on YouTube yet, but it's called I think it's I don't know what the YouTube documentary is called, but it just came out. It's like an hour long, and it shows how the FBI, the CIA, played a big part in allowing these like morally dangerous things to spread in America. So the government does have a big part in keeping society moral. I mean, keeping drugs illegal,
Well, let me ask you this
making
question.
abortion illegal, this is a big. What did you say?
Papa John, you up next.
Well, this is a question, and this is not. I'm not attacking your stance at all. I'm just saying, what do you fear that'll come out of gay marriage? Like, what do you fear?
Well, okay. Well, I fear the societal consequences of what it. Oh, the government is saying is playing a part that they shouldn't play, saying that marriage is not only between a man and a woman. A, B, the societal consequences of having people see that a man and a man, a woman and a woman can be so-called married, right? They're putting them on the same level as a man and a woman, which is a sacred bond, right? Which literally builds societies. You have a strong family model,
you were a parent,
a strong nuclear family.
If you were a parent,
doesn't that happen on television already? Isn't the cat out the bag?
Well, I just like to ask, if you were a parent, would you be unable to control what your kid does? I feel like if I was a parent, I'd be able to, guide my kid towards.
This goes right into this. That's actually a good thing. Like you and I have different takes on this issue, but that's actually a good thing that you brought up, because that goes right into, should porn be legal? Yes or no? I say no. You'd probably say yes, because you say, oh well, parents should be able to control their kids. Parents should be able to discipline. Well,
government should not regulate.
With the internet and TV, right? Like if you go online, I think that everyone stumbled across porn by accident when they were younger, accidentally. It just there.
Not really.
I just accidentally typed in Pornhub.com,
It's no accident for me, to be honest.
No, okay.
No,
it
was an accident.
That's pretty dope, Brandon.
Can I respond to Papa John's question too?
Yeah.
Bateman, go ahead.
All right. So my thing is the more this is accepted by the culture, the more it's going to proliferate in the younger people. Like we're all on TikTok pretty much now. We know what's going on. Has the number of people living these lifestyles been increasing or decreasing? And do you honestly not believe that allowing it to have a legal status made no impact at all whatsoever on that?
No.
Well, my big thing
is different.
I don't fear these massive societal pressures that you guys do. I'm as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care what the fuck my gay neighbors are up to. I don't. And I know that might be different, and you guys might interpret that. But if I'm if I'm a parent, my kids are not going to be gay, and I know that for a fact, because I know I have the ability to shape them the correct way. I know you guys might not be able.
Yes, sir.
Irrespective of that, hold on. Irrespective of that, you have to live in a society with these people, and to act as if people in the society cannot have a direct impact on you, especially when it's a buildup of a multitude of individuals, not just a small pocket of them. Of course, it can impact you.
I also add on, drag queen story hour is now a thing because of all this normalization. We have DQSH stuff happening every single like drag queen.
By the way, when you guys ask where do we draw the line as conservatives, that is way past the line for me.
Wait,
Just
can I add on to this? Hold on, I want to add on. So
yeah,
the drag queen story hour is normalized, and
where does that take place at? Not to interrupt, just where does it take place at?
Public libraries funded by taxpayers.
This is why privatize the shit out of schools and libraries.
Even private, it even happens in private.
Then don't send your kids to private institutions.
Well, no, even if it is privatized, they still can do the drag queen story hours in private places. That's not going to really stop the issue. It's going to shift the blame from the government.
Their choice. That's their choice if they want to do that.
The fact of the matter is, hold on, let me say something. I'd like to.
Y'all are talking over each other. Chief Trumpster and then Bateman. Chief Trumpster, then Bateman.
Great. Okay, so I want to say this. I've been doing all these drag queen story hour rate things. We kind of see that how these drag queen story hour stuff happens like every other day, literally online, on Zoom, on Instagram Live, on Facebook Live. They have all these events virtually that happen right now. A lot of people are letting their kids see this online and by publicly funded libraries. They get over $100 million, which is the Queens Public Library and also the Brooklyn Public Library. This happens in our libraries. This happens in a private setting and like that, and also in a public setting. So
can I add one thing real quick?
I'd like to the kids, they don't have to be there.
And then another thing I'd like to add to this. Hold on. We had an organized.
If you look at TV,
Cole, chill.
Is being the Bateman.
All I wanted to add to that, and that was very base, Mr. Trumpster. All I wanted to add to that was that you have to keep in mind this do what they will, and it doesn't involve me kind of policy is what has led America into the situation it's in now. Because the fact of the matter is, you think it doesn't directly affect you, but it does. It does.
It's government policy that's allowing these drag little shows to go on.
Because what are you going to insulate your child into their room and just bring them food in there? Like they're going to have to interact with the people around them.
Deep, bro. Send them to a private school.
You go to work. You have to interact with people.
Dude, hold on. Can I say something real quick?
Move to a town where people are just like you and do not like it.
I mean,
no, we need to shift the incentive structure.
So even publics. I agree with you guys principally. I don't think you should be raising a kid transgender. I don't think people should be getting into gay marriage. However, a lot of this has to do with our public school system indoctrinating our kids with these. It's morally acceptable to be transgender. It's morally acceptable to go date your same-sex person. There's no consequences. Let's play into your transgender, like your little mental problem. Let's play with that. And they're also advocating for chemical castration of these 9-year-olds.
Gender studies, sex studies.
That happens just as much in private universities and private schools as it does in public.
Yeah. If you're watching TV and you click too fast or something like that, you're on like RuPaul's Drag Queens on TV. So it's like it's not just
public.
Like the government doing this. Yeah, it's private. So you have to have some.
Don't watch that shit.
Dude, is Caitlyn Jenner being on the cover?
Okay, well then you need to monitor as a parent what your kid is looking at.
That's an impossible task.
How is it on you?
It's not
really impossible.
If you're sitting and watching TV,
parent cares that much. They're going to be on their kids' ass.
All right, we're devolving this shit. Hold up. Brandon and then I guess Cole. Brandon then Cole.
All right.
I'm saying if a parent cares that much about their kid seeing this shit, they're going to be on his ass constantly to make sure that doesn't happen. The government shouldn't be regulating
Shouldn't we have a society where we're comfortable sending our kids off into the real world and not have to worry about that and actually let them have their own experiences?
Okay, but those are your morals. Those aren't everyone else.
Back when my grandfather
I'm a Catholic. I don't agree with all this shit.
Back when my grandfather
the government should not be in it.
Hold up. Let me respond to that. When my grandfather grew up in the 30s, he could go deliver mail. He could go hang out with his buddies outside in the real world and still have strong moral character outside. It's a degradation of the human spirit to allow our public sphere to turn into garbage because you don't care what happens to anyone else.
Did they have sex ed? Did they have gender studies?
No.
The government can absolutely incentivize morality. Look at the cigarette smoking that happened in the 2000s. What they do? They raised taxes on cigarettes. They did all these government-funded campaigns.
We should tax homosexuals, right?
We shouldn't tax homosexuals, but we should absolutely decentivize that kind of action.
What is your solution to this? What do you want to do with all
They
the
want to
people
ban
in this
porn, bro.
country?
They already said it.
No,
They want
yeah,
to ban
First of
porn.
all, we should.
No,
And it's
gay
not
people.
even just
What do you
because
want to do
it's
about gay
gay
people?
such a negative impact on
Trust
society.
me, I used to
in
be.
general.
I used to.
And if you
I
say it
used to
doesn't
think the
impact you,
exact.
you're
Hold
wrong.
up. Whoa.
One at a time.
Too
One at
much.
a time.
One
One
at
at
a
a
time.
time.
Jack finished and then Cole.
I was just gonna say, I used to think the exact same thing as you guys. Like, oh well, if it doesn't, affect me or somebody else, then go ahead and go do it, right? But like after, like that morality is the. I don't mean to insult you, but that morality is like the morality of like a third or fourth grader. I mean, like we absolutely have to care about other people, and I'm sorry if trampling on their freedoms like keeps them from destroying themselves, but like. I mean, look at our society today. We absolutely will. We cannot win the morality war by following these principles.
Can I go now?
This is the biggest flaw in this entire argument. Is that
you
can change how people feel.
You can. You
can't change who people.
Yes,
you can't change how people who are attracted to. No, you can't. Can I change you to be gay? Change you to be gay. Can I make you gay?
One at a time.
Bateman, is there any way in hell that anything I say or do could make you gay?
No, but the proliferation on young impressionable minds certainly can, especially if they're on the fence about these things because they're underdeveloped and don't fully understand their place in the world.
You are born straight or you are born gay. That is a scientific.
That is literally not. That is not true. As a matter of fact, there's studies that show that child trauma increases the rates of homosexuality.
Exactly.
That's not true.
No.
Not all found.
I think
there are so many kids who went through a shit ton of trauma and are not gay, and the opposite way around. It is not a common statistic.
Hold on.
It says you have a higher chance.
Hold on, and then I want to respond to this. And for transgenders too, okay, the average American child, their mother is 3% likely to have borderline personality disorder. The mother of children who are transgender, 60%.
And how many of them are single mothers?
It was a single mother study, so they were all
single parents. I can tell you the stat from single parents. Without having a father in the home,
is that not one of the biggest problems? If we see most of this shit comes from single mothers, isn't that more of a thing we have to address first?
Well, no, it was the single mothers of normal children. It was only 6% of them were
okay, I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying right now.
Specifically for the transgender community, it's 60% of their mothers have borderline personality.
Right, I heard a female voice. Let's get a female voice because it's a fucking absolute dick face.
I go next after them.
Yeah,
female. Whoever the
time.
female who spoke up was, and then Cole.
Cameron.
It was
Cameron was saying something. I don't know what it was.
Cameron, then Cole.
I was pretty much agreeing with what Oliver was saying. Like, I feel that like you cannot help attraction. I don't really have much to add on to that.
I understand this narrative. I understand this narrative that you guys are pushing.
Papa John, hold up. Let Cole go.
It's that you want to change people, and I can't change you to be gay, just like you can't change Lucas to be straight. Trust me.
All right, they'll address that. Go Cole.
Sorry.
All right. I just want to say, Jack, what you said before, based, I agree 100%. I used to be an anarcho-capitalist, right? I used to think, screw it. As long as you consent, right? Doesn't matter to me. I used to think that, it doesn't affect me. But then I realized, oh, wow, I have morality. And if I don't do something about putting my morality in the public sphere, someone's going to push their morality on me. If you look at the 50s, right? Morality was very potent and it was very involved in government, right? And then 60s, 70s started to decline. And now we're getting drag queen story hours, gay marriage, transgenders that killed children, right? A judge in Texas ordered that a father can't tell his son who dressed up as a girl to dress up as a boy. This is a point we're at now. I don't think the founders ever wanted to get
slippery
this far.
slope.
It's not just the government; it's the media too, and that's private.
Yeah, definitely the media too.
Whose organizations restrict them?
And again, no one has addressed this point. Has the percent of the population? Let's look at Zoomers versus Boomers. Has the percent of the population that are outwardly homosexual in general been increasing?
Yes, because they feel more comfortable.
It doesn't matter. So when they were in the closet, they were leading normal lives and getting married normally.
And they were chronically unhappy. Is that what you want?
Yeah,
dude, they're chronically unhappy. They're chronically unhappy.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Hold up.
I'm sorry. I want you to go around and ask gay people if they are chronically unhappy because they are gay and married to the person they want to marry. Go around and ask them.
Look at the trend.
I guarantee it's not going to be
before and after operation.
There's literally been studies before and after operation for transgenders, and before and after
coming out
of homosexual, and before and after coming out of the closet for homosexuals, and they still they still despairingly suffer from like depression and other mental illnesses.
Clearly, because
Same thing with the suicide rate.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to generalize, but people who think like you and don't want these people to
who
be
think
able
like
to
me are
live their
currently a
lives.
minority in society.
Exactly,
Yeah, let
and
him
I
go, let
agree.
him
And
finish.
I think you know the reason that depression and suicide and these rates are so high is because there are people who think like you who do not believe these people are valid and can live their lives the way you feel.
I have a question for that.
You know, that'd be really great.
You feel like your morality.
Whoa. Too much words, Sally. Too much words, Sally.
Your morals, your morals,
Oliver finished,
your
then
morals,
Bateman, then Tim.
your morals can justify how you live. No one is dying or killing anyone else because they're homosexual. They're not fucking your asshole. I don't understand why all of you care so much.
Nice.
Okay, that's my point. Is it's not happening
If
to
you want to
you.
save people from hell, that's why.
Okay, well then, you know what? I'm sorry. Your religion does not apply to other people.
Now that
Should I read the First Amendment?
If you're going to say my religion doesn't apply, then you can say that non-religion doesn't apply either.
Separation of church and state.
Hold on.
Separation of church and state. You shall not.
Let me do my response. I let him finish, and you guys keep interrupting. Don't do that.
Yeah, let him go.
I get what you're saying, bro. But think about this. Since it's been legalized and normalized, you can say I can just not subject myself to this stuff, really, because I turn on the TV, it's on there. I go outside, it's on
Change the
advertisements
channel.
and billboards.
Change the
no,
channel.
You can't. No. You can't just scapegoat like that. It directly impacts. It directly impacts me and the people around me and how I want to raise my children. I should be free to let my children go out into the world to explore on their own without being a helicopter parent and live in a normal moral society.
Okay.
What you have no way to address in your toolkit moral degradation, and that's a fact.
I do no because how is homosexuality objectively morally degrading? Explain that.
I can answer
that.
What is the physical anatomy of a human being meant for?
Can I please explain this?
Bro, I hope you realize that as a society, we are not
Let's
primarily
talk about it objectively.
Okay, objectively, yes, and you are correct that men and women are meant to reproduce. You are correct on that. The thing is we don't have a population shortage. People being gay is not causing humans not to be born. If anything, gay people.
That's not what the penis is
if anything, gay. Okay, well then don't use your penis for that.
But you're saying objectively speaking, that's not what it's for.
Same argument can be used for pedophiles. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm not comparing the two. They're totally different. They're totally different. I don't want to take it into context. They're totally different, but the same argument can be used.
Like I wouldn't.
No, but I have a question.
Because there's no moral way in which a child and an adult have sex.
But the thing is, if you break it down,
there's no moral way
we're going in circles.
for gays to have sex.
There's no moral reason to have the age of consent at 18.
Because there are two consenting adults. Why do you care what
So
they do?
if Bateman consents to me killing him, is that okay?
No, because killing and having sex with are two different things.
Yeah, but he consents.
Yes, it's illegal. The other is not.
Time out. Assisted suicide. Assisted suicide is legal. I mean, you can disagree with it.
I want to pose a question. I want to pose a question. Hold on. So,
yeah, go for it.
With those standards you're setting, I think what you're also kind of with that logic, because there are two consenting adults, could you say that drag queen story hour is okay because they're just consenting people there who are just kind of watching?
And you know what? Listen to me. I don't believe that should be happening in public places where taxpayer dollars are being going to, but private places, you have the choice not to send your kids there. You don't have to go.
Allowing children in general and parents to subject their children to that is wrong.
How
are you going to address parents beating their children?
Your opinion.
How are you going to address parents beating their children?
Because it is not physically harming them.
Yeah, but it's
or emotionally. How do you know? How do you know that? How do you know that?
I can answer that.
Because it goes against their morals.
Yeah, let Jack
I can answer that.
Yo, finishing statements. Finishing statement. Tim, finishing statement.
Got you. I was just going to say, Oliver, irrespective of religion, where we're kind of coming from is that like the reason why homosexuality is like innately, objectively like not, I guess you could say not right, is because it's not something that people are born with, but rather it's a psychological condition.
I'm sorry, dude.
In order for somebody to be born with it,
studies.
In order for somebody,
it happens in nature.
Excuse me.
It happens in nature.
In order for somebody to, sodomy happens in nature. I live on a cow farm. The cows do it all the time because they don't know it's in nature. Listen. the reason why it cannot be a natal thing, that is to say, they cannot be born with it, is because that would necessarily mean that it's genetic. And it cannot be genetic because homosexuality is necessarily preclusive to reproduction. In other words, you would get wiped out of the gene pool immediately. So the whole idea is that it's a mental illness, just like transgenderism is a mental illness. And you don't have to believe in religion to be against it.
No, I'm not saying transgenderism is. I'm talking about gay people. I don't think gay people have a mental illness.
It's it's the LGBT mental illness. It's I'm sorry, but it's true. I mean,
send me studies. Send them.
No, it's no. You added the
Instagram.
T. It's LGB, mental illness.
There we go.
You added the T.
Fair.
Just saying.
Fair. Yes.
Well, I did add the T because it's all based. Okay.
DM me whatever studies you want, and I'm happy to read them about that. And if they're from like fucking Breitbart, we'll know where you're coming from.
In the DSM-4, homosexuality was listed as a mental illness.
Not anymore. Hasn't that been changed like so many times?
Yeah, not anymore, but that doesn't make it any less objectively studied and true.
No, we change things all the time based on society.
It's been changed.
It was
like,
true.
So many
Just because it
times.
was true. Just because it was true. We once believed that black people were not full humans, or do we not believe that they're full humans now?
No, that we never.
It has been changed.
That was never.
Science never supported that. It was just
race biologists were hired to say that black people were less than white people. Therefore, at a time, the conclusion of science was that African Americans were not human. Before, there was a conclusion that being gay was a mental illness. We have changed that as society adapts because we realize it is not correct.
Do you think science from the 1700s is the same as science from the 1900s?
No. Okay, listen to me. Partially, yes, but there are advancements in science, and there are agendas that are being pushed in both sides.
Yeah, the agenda is why it's no longer listed in the DSM.
There you go. Agenda.
No, not always. It depends.
Yeah, it's literally agenda why it's no longer listed.
There are agendas on both sides. There are agendas on both sides. I agree. There is a strong LGBTQ agenda on the left that I don't even fully agree with. I just agree with letting people live their lives how they choose to live, and I can choose to live mine how I want to live. It's the same equality principle that it seems like you guys always want to abide by. But, I don't understand why this is any different. That's all I have to say. But, we can either move on unless someone else has something else.
Why do you think that they're born that way, though?
Because there are countless studies saying. Because there are countless studies. I will also send them to you if you want to send them to me. If you guys, if you guys DM me on Instagram, so I have your handle or something, I will gladly send you all the things I have on it. Countless studies showing that people who are born, like there is a difference in their brain chemistry. The same thing with transgenders, and you're going to disagree with me so much here, but I will send you all of the studies I have based on the fact that people who are born gay, people who are born trans, have a different brain chemicals in their brain that makes them different. And no matter and conversion therapy and conversion. I don't know who's talking, but I don't even know.
Oh shit, my bad. I'm talking to
No, you're good, man. No problem.
Yeah, I'm mute myself.
And it's okay, no problem. And if you look at these studies, if you look at like whether it comes to trauma, there are plenty of gay people who are not gay, or who do not, or plenty of straight people who do not come out gay because of their trauma. There are plenty of people the opposite way. It doesn't make sense that we should be oppressing something that is naturally created. It boils down to the fact of what do you want to do when you, and this is going to happen, you can disagree with me, when you try to change the environment and people still are gay, you're going to be like, what the fuck is happening? We're changing everything.
Listen, I don't care if there's people in the closet. I don't care.
Okay, well then you're very selfish. I'm sorry, because it's very hard for people to feel selfish.
I think your logic
they're being selfish by wanting to live their life how they want to. That doesn't even fucking affect them.
Yes, it is. It's just like how a drug addict continuing to use drugs is selfish, but that's the life they want to lead. It's selfish.
I believe in legalizing drugs, but we can get on that topic.
First off,
that's crazy.
Well then, all you're doing is proliferating human suffering.
No, I don't. I believe that an adult should be able to put whatever they want in their body.
Let's not look at the consequences. A, how it kills them, and B, how it affects people around them.
Can I say something? I think
sucks, man.
With that logic, I mean, that's literally the logic where we kind of allow things like the drag queen story.
Okay,
stuff.
wait, Oliver.
That's what got us to that drag queen story hour place. Like
again, remove the religion, bud. Remove the religion from the argument. Boil it.
Remove the non-religion from your argument.
No, because I'm talking about the real world, and you're bringing up your little book.
I'm not even. I
Oh,
never even
yeah.
brought
Oh,
religion
yeah,
up.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that the drag queen story hour should not is not even a religious thing to be disgusted and not happy about it. It's
Okay,
not.
then don't watch it. Do not watch it. No
Don't-
one is
but that-
forcing you
but you're-
to
but
watch
this-
it.
It's taking. It's
No one is
literally-
forcing you to watch it.
Again.
You are choosing to get offended. I'm
I'm
sorry,
not
you
choosing to get
are.
offended. I'm looking out for kids. That's.
Do you believe that it's
Okay.
morally wrong?
Yeah.
Morally wrong for what?
For drag queen story
Like
hour.
I'm just this. Well, no, actually, not even that.
For what?
I was going to
Morally
say,
wrong
as far
for
as
what?
homosexual relations, do you personally believe that they are wrong? Because
No.
I think that's where we're actually really disagreeing here.
I do not believe it is morally wrong for two people who love each other to get married. I do not.
Okay, see, that's okay. Got you.
You know, and you know what? What I think is morally wrong is if they're somehow forcing you to involve in it. No one's forcing you to wave the pride flag. No
Okay,
one's forcing you to do that.
what if a 15-year-old and a 70-year-old want to get married? Is that all right with you?
No, that is against the
Why?
fucking law,
They
and
love
that is
each other.
illegal.
They love each other.
No, that is. This is different. We're talking.
You're
about
picking at like a
adults.
1%.
We're talking about
Less
adults. You
than
are picking about
1%.
that. You're picking at that. I'm sorry, you are. You're picking at like you're literally talking about like pedophilia. I'm sorry, I'm not addressing that.
You
I'm
know, a
talking about
15 and a
consenting
7-year-old
adults.
that got married.
Consenting adults. Yeah, I'm curious when that happened, but consenting adults. That's already illegal in this country.
I'm not
Consenting
saying it did
adults.
happen. I'm just saying, would you be okay with that?
No, I would not.
Actually, I want to interject.
using
I want to interject.
And a little girl.
In
That
some,
happens both ways like that.
In some states, child marriages are legal still.
I mean, I think that's terrible.
So, by that, I mean,
because consenting adults are different than children.
So
why?
I can't believe you
you're
can't
putting
make that
morality in on
distinction.
one question, and then you're taking morality out.
No,
the other.
I'm not. My morality is consistent.
That's your morality.
My morality.
My morality. Just as easy as you can say to me. Just as easy as you can say to me, "Oh, your morality is dictating gay marriage." Someone else can say to you, "Oh, but your morality is dictating saying that I can't be a pedophile." Just as easy. There's no objective standard. If there's no objective
yes,
standard,
there is
then
objective standard. The objective standard is adults. The
You say
objective standard is
Groyper
adults.
say objective standard, but then they don't have an objective standard to
Thank you.
drugs. They say drugs are on a continuum. That is from Nick Fiontis himself. Nick F. He says drugs are on a continuum. Why isn't like love on a continuum? Like I don't get that.
Yeah.
Because
I think. I think it's constantly changing.
You can't say one thing's objective and another thing's on a continuum.
Yeah.
Why can't you? Light's on a continuum, but physical objects are objective.
Pardon me?
I said, why can't you say that? Light's on a continuum, but physical objects are objective.
Are you guys at all the pro gay marriage people in this chat? Are you guys aware of the disparity?
I'm not pro here. I want to address this. I'm not pro gay marriage. I'm pro freedom and letting people live their life how they choose. Let's make that very clear. Like I'm not trying to turn people gay or like try to make anyone homosexual. Like I honestly don't give a fuck. Like I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like I feel
you're right. That was a good distinction to make. But as far so I suppose all the people that are personally for it and the people that also think it ought to be and the people that are also just for its legalization. Are you guys aware of the disparity in like the STD rates between heterosexual couples and homosexuals?
Absolutely.
Namely homosexual men. I was also going to say, I know he's going to say expand sex awareness,
sex education, all that. Same thing we do for straight couples.
Not to mention that, but also just the massive disparity in the amount of sexual partners that are had on a yearly basis.
I read the stats on lesbian marriages and effect on children.
I don't care who you're in bed with.
I just think that the more that you actually delve into the details of this, we can call it a behavior or identity.
Mm-hmm.
The more that you actually delve into the details of same-sex attraction, the more you realize that it's not like the same. It's not like the other side of the coin, and on the other side is heterosexuality. It's more of like it's more of something that is morally dangerous, or not even morally dangerous, but physically dangerous. Not even for us, like me and Cole and some of the other guys who want to protect our children, but for the homosexuals themselves, especially. I mean, the average life expectancy of a homosexual man, and I think this was data from like the 80s, so it might have increased by then, was like less than 50. Their chances of being murdered was like times 10, and it wasn't. And continue.
The issue here, sorry, I'm gonna let Bateman or whoever was talking because I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something quick. Can we unmute the delegate? He's been holding a sign to be unmuted for like an hour. And then also,
That's some
bro,
serious
can
dedication.
you pick me? I've been waiting for over an hour. Could you unmute those two guys?
Okay, I will definitely mute them. I wanted to.
Can we give other people a chance to talk
yes,
first?
absolutely. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I promise I'll be done. Yes, I'm just going to say one thing, and then I'll promise I'll be done.
Okay.
I think what we're looking at here when it comes to homosexuality and when he's naming off all these stats is, what is the feasible solution? You all are saying that gay marriage is wrong. It is wrong to do this. My issue is people are gay. I'm sorry, you can't.
My solution
change that.
is the same
You
solution
can't
they
change
had.
that.
My solution is the same solution they had in the 50s, and it seemed to work then.
Stop them from being out of the closet. Have them be in an inherent state of denial and like not knowing what's going on. Okay, well then you're selfish for wanting them to suffer at your expense.
That's not selfish.
But
they're selfish for projecting their inner chaos into the realm of the social sphere.
I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? And I'll actually make a distinction here. I would be okay with maybe not having like pride parades being like broadcasted everywhere, but two homosexuals in a relationship just doing their own thing are not pushing their agenda on you.
Wait, I have a question. Wait, I have a quick thing. Wait, I have a quick question about that. So why is it okay for? Why are you not okay with the pride parades being publicly shown?
I am, but I'd be willing to make a concession with him because he thinks that private people doing their private things in a private bedroom is somehow having an effect on him.
Well, if you think it didn't have an effect on me, look at the laws that I live under now.
What laws?
Look at the degradation of what it means to be married.
What laws? How is it affecting you?
It's now legally recognized.
Okay.
Divorce rates have never been higher. We've already had a destruction of what marriage means, and it's just getting worse and more.
Is your marriage any different? I don't know if you're married. Is your marriage any different because
hurting
people
society.
can now marry?
It's hurting society. The society I live in.
Your society.
You think it doesn't? Yes. I mean, look at your class.
So you have to be more
accepting. Are you in high
accepting.
school right now? Are you in high school?
I am in high school. Well,
how many of your
high
buddies
school.
are from divorced households?
I'm from a divorced household in particular.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know, I'm not going to blame my parents' failures on society, but I think it's
partially because of the society we live in, and the fact of the matter is societal pressures actually mold people.
No. I'm going to address this right now. Why a lot of people,
the number one cause of divorces are
financial. Thank you, but that actually wasn't it for my parents. I don't know why I'm getting on this tangent.
It wasn't for me either.
Yeah, we can move on.
Can I just read some stats real quick? Can I read some stats?
We know what they're going to prove.
Unmute those people who've been
Yeah, sorry, I apologize.
You know what? You're saying, well, gay marriage being legal has no effect, right? Well, it does have a big effect because when there's two moms versus a mom and a dad, so 17% of like married like mom and dad, like the first number I'm going to say is like a normal like mother and a father. Second number I'm going to say is like a lesbian couple. So families receive welfare growing up, 17% for married couples versus 69% for lesbian mothers. Currently cohabiting, 9% for married parents and 24% for lesbian mothers. That means like living like at two different houses. Currently on public assistance, 10% for married couples, which is like a mother and a father, 38% for lesbian mothers. Currently employed full time, 49% for married parents, 26% for lesbian mothers.
Okay, dude, I think we're gonna get it now. You're just reading on. We get it. I understand. There are higher disparities.
So having two mothers really affects the children.
Okay.
And you're okay with that?
Statistically, I think that society can transform into a way that is not the case, and we disagree. I think progression is the solution. You think regression is the solution. All right, I'm gonna move on to. I'm gonna move. Currently it doesn't because it is a new system. Sometimes you have to let something play out and have a phasing period or period of change to see what actually is going to happen. Obviously, sometimes there's a downturn in something when we're transitioning to, new acceptance, but obviously that's going to be different. Someone said I'm a legit progressive. I am very progressive on social issues, but I'm a libertarian when it comes to economically. I'm actually completely libertarian. But all right, what is?
Can we talk about drugs? I feel like that's a big change.
Being liberal on social issues is being a libertarian, by the way.
Completely, yeah. I know. That's why I'm a libertarian.
Yeah.
So.
Can we talk about drugs and legalization of drugs?
So I'm trying the delegate. All right, I'm
the delegate.
All right, you are unmuted. The delegate.
Yeah, thank you, Bateman, for.
Sorry about that, dude.
Getting me unmuted.
All right, what do you have to say?
I just wanted to say, like, I just want to add on to the last topic we were talking. Or I mean, if you guys want to move on, do you guys want to move on?
I think we did. Yeah. I mean, if you
We
can,
talk
if you
about
want
drugs.
to.
Anyway, we can
Yeah,
talk
we
about
can talk
drugs.
about. I mean, the thing about drugs is that I think it's just morally reprehensible to allow people to fall because obviously when people are addicted to drugs, it's a horror. It's a horrible thing. It's like it's like an illness. You know what I mean? It's like no one wants to be addicted to drugs. So why are we allowing people to why are we allowing our fellow countrymen get addicted and not punish those who are just punish those who are distributing them and obviously destroying our communities. Like we saw, all the Midwest is pretty much just gone because of mass drug proliferation. So I'm just asking the libertarians why do you want people not want but why are you allowing people to have their lives destroyed and and whole communities to be decimated?
Oh, can I answer this? Can I answer this? So in Portugal, they decriminalized all drugs, and their opioid crisis stopped.
Well, in Portugal, they still pursued drug sellers. They still pursued. I'm talking more about
how many people live in
criminalizing
Portugal?
selling drugs.
What kind of people live in Portugal?
But if someone were to overdose in America, don't you think they would be scared to go to the hospital because of the fear of getting arrested?
Aren't there laws?
Well, I'm not talking about. I'm talking
There's
about
laws
that.
about that. There's Good Samaritan laws.
Yeah, I'm not talking about people who are addicted to drugs themselves. I'm talking more about people who like drug dealers or people who obviously libertarian. One of the libertarians' main points is their main ideas is drug legalization. So I'm saying why should we allow people to sell this poison to our to our communities?
Oliver.
I mean, because
I believe in drug legalization for
Time out. What did someone want to say? Someone
He
mentioned my
said,
name.
well, the delegate, he said, why would you be in favor of legalizing drugs and not punishing drug dealers?
So I think yes, and I think I would want to legalize, when it comes to at least decriminalize kind of drug usage. I don't think we should be treating these people like criminals. I think we should try to rehabilitate them. I don't think it should be about punishment. It should be about rehabilitation and trying to get these people back into society as functional members. Sorry if I misspoke. I made my statement.
We're talking more about drug dealers, people who sell drugs.
Drug dealers. Yeah, I don't. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think I've fully formulated my opinion on that. It seems a little iffy to just legalize that. So yeah.
I think that if you get caught selling heroin, electric chair. It's such a
optics.
It's such a destroyer.
No.
It's such a destroyer.
I am completely opposed to the death penalty in all forms. But
I think that drug users in some cases should go to jail, right? But in all cases, drug dealers should go to jail. I think most of us can agree that drug dealers should go to jail because they they're abusing these people's addictions, right? And they're feeding into. You can't just look at the people taking drugs. You have to look at what the effect of people taking drugs is. So if there's a parent who's taking drugs, their kid gets neglected, right? Their kid could get into the stash accidentally.
I have a question. I have a question for you.
For most drug dealers that end up getting caught anyway, they're not the big people that we need to worry about. We should be cracking down on the very obvious supply chains of where these come from. It's very obvious.
I think for the right word we're looking for is we should target drug traffickers.
Yeah.
And importers.
Because sometimes drug dealers are just drug addicts looking for a way to feel their addiction.
Yeah, but why do you care what people put into their bodies?
Because I care about.
I have to live in a society with these people. I don't want to walk down the street past a drug addict shitting on the ground.
I want to crack down on shark. Yeah,
I care about my fellow countrymen. That's
I want to rehabilitate them, but if they want to put heroin in their body, who cares?
I care because they may be my family, my friends, my community.
That's the beauty of America.
No, it's not the beauty of America.
To be dumb shit.
No, you don't have the beauty to. You don't have the
beauty of America
is
you can inject heroin and shit on the fucking streets. It's beautiful.
Yeah, holy cow.
Yeah, so beautiful.
I don't think I said anything about
beautiful.
defecating on the street.
Okay, I know you're playing devil's advocate, you little kid.
Come on, Bateman. I'm gonna be completely honest. Let's not resort to ad hominems or.
All right, sorry. I was just trying to meme a little bit. No, I get what you're saying, but the fact of the matter is, it's not freedoms that makes America beautiful. It's the responsibilities endowed on the citizens. It's the same as any other nation.
Yeah,
responsibility to vote, the responsibility for your fellow citizens, the responsibility of service to a community. That's what makes a country beautiful.
I mean, let's just take
freedoms are a secondary effect of our responsibilities.
I mean,
and I agree we should rehabilitate them, but if they want to like do whatever drugs, like who cares? It's their body.
The thing is like, would you want to live in a society where everyone's, where everyone's addicted to drugs? Like, let's just take it to the logical extreme, like where, let's say everyone's on drugs. I mean, from your perspective, it'd be perfectly fine since everyone's just doing what they want to do. But like, would that be a good, healthy society?
No,
I mean,
I want to help to rehabilitate them, but like, if they decide to do it, then like, I don't care. It's their choice.
Why would you want to rehabilitate them, but in the same time you don't care about?
So I don't think it's a responsibility of the government. I think it's a responsibility of personal citizens.
What's the role
families.
of government? Protect their citizens.
Yeah, the government
the government is literally just an extension of the citizens to be more efficient at what they're trying to do.
Oh, I would not say the government is more efficient at what they do.
Okay, well then you try and get not only that, but it contains in it a rule book of how we're going to generally do this. I mean, imagine if we just got rid of the state police forces and we just had
no one's advocating for that.
Things.
No one's advocating for about. Actually, no. Actually, wait, no. Papa John does. He's an anarcho-capitalist. I'm not, but
yeah, but you understand what I'm trying to give a real world example of where my logic is. You understand what I'm saying?
Partially, yes. I mean, what I'm trying to say is I think that we should be raising people and giving them the education on drugs so that they realize how harmful these are. I mean, we also have to look at why are people using drugs? Is it extreme poverty? Is it all of these things that is leading them into, a life of whether it be crime and drugs?
I'd say there are a lot of government programs that kind of, I know there's a bunch of these governments funded, programs that try, promoting.
How effective are they?
They're not, like, I think
not
if anything,
effective.
I think like the whole point about this, I really think it's just I think it's a generic kind of acceptance of this type of stuff. There is really a lot of it's hard to quantify. There's like a whole acceptance of this.
There's a malaise.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of people that kind of think it's okay and let it happen, and I think we should, as a government, should take care of our own citizens and kind of look out for them more so.
I want to clear up a false comparison. Like, doing drugs is not the same as like overeating, right? Like, you have the freedom in America to eat whatever you want, whatever. Obesity and addiction are two different things. One of them is just like a choice. The other one is a mental illness.
They're both diseases. Wait,
you. Like,
no. You can have a disorder, eating disorders.
What I meant to say is, like, let's see, the Mexican Republican was the one who said, like, why does it matter if somebody just does drugs? Like, if they choose to do it, it doesn't matter. Let them do it. It's totally different than saying, like, oh, if a person wants to like drink soda all day, like, let them. That's different than saying let a person do heroin if they want
honestly,
to.
I'm against that too.
Wait, in what way is it different? In what way is it different?
They both are addictions. I just
the thing is, like, soda, like it inherently isn't like, like if you drink soda, like most people who drink soda aren't gonna get addicted, but like most people who take
I don't know, bud. There are a lot of people in this country who are very, very obese because they are addicted to sugary drinks.
Stop playing dumb here. Stop trying to compare like soda and heroin here.
I'm not comparing them. I'm saying they both happen.
Well, not you.
I'm saying they both happen.
Josiah Wiggins. I don't know if I pronounced it right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, soda and heroin are totally different. Like, come on, man.
I don't think
what about nicotine?
Them, bro.
What about nicotine? Because nicotine is a more addictive drug than heroin, yet that's legal.
Yeah, but nicotine doesn't do the same
nicotine does not have the same effect as heroin here. Come on.
Long-term usage, it does. I mean,
nicotine takes like 30 years to kill, while heroin takes like less.
Nicotine used
so time matters.
That can kill you, but nicotine itself doesn't kill you.
Also
so you're okay if someone kills themselves over a period of 30 years, but not in one injection.
Nicotine in and of itself.
Wait,
hold on. Nicotine in and of itself can work as a neuroprotectant and can work against neurodegenerative disorders such as like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease.
So getting lung cancer
and nicotine itself does not cause the lung cancer. It's
yeah, that was a fallacy with what's his name? Pedro. What you just said was insane, my guy. That's great. I mean, that's a showman. My fault. That's a showman. But yeah, I'd like to add something to this argument. This is not my debate. But Portugal decriminalized its drugs, and the opioid crisis soon stabilized. I'm reading this. I'll give you the source in a second when I'm done reading this. But the opioid crisis soon stabilized.
Someone already mentioned that.
Oh, somebody mentioned that. What happened?
Yeah, and my rebuttal to that is Portugal is not America. They have a smaller population, and they have a different population, and they're also different geolocation.
Yeah, but they also had but this is something a factor to take into account. They also had the same in 2001. They also had the same opioid crisis similar to how we have. So
similar, but not the same.
The thing is, Portugal
it's still very similar. I mean,
dealing drugs was still illegal. Like it was illegal to sell drugs.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
I don't want
complete
legalization.
Okay. If you're saying maybe decriminalize like use if people are using it and then give them treatment centers, and that's the only place they can use them. That's different than saying, just let them have access to
no, completely. I agree with that.
Yeah, of course.
I agree with that.
That's a form of treatment. I'd be okay with that. But
yeah,
but
in Portugal,
let them do it in their house whenever they feel.
No, in Portugal, if they called you, I'm not too sure about the places, the special place you could do it. But if they called you, there was a mandatory, I think, therapist and doctor meeting for you as well. So
and then in the Netherlands, they didn't decriminalize drugs, but what they did do was they created treatment centers where people can wean themselves off of it, and a nurse would administer whatever drug you're addicted to.
Yeah.
So if you're saying something like that,
I just don't like it when people are going to jail.
If you're saying something like that I'm okay with. But if you're saying no, just whatever people want to do, like they should have access to heroin like they do nicotine in the free market. No. I do not agree with that.
I'm not saying that to allow people to sell drugs, but if people just want to, I don't know.
Pedro, I know where you're going now.
Yeah, I think we should criminalize it, and I think we should have things that come along with it. I don't think
we should not decriminalize it. We should when someone gets arrested for drug use, they should go to a treatment center where they are weaned off the drug.
Or when they get caught, not necessarily we can say that for lack of a better word. If they get caught, you can send them to a mandatory meeting with a therapist or a doctor, or you can put them in what was the word?
They have treatment centers.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, what they did in the Netherlands. So yeah, I guess I agree with you on that. So yeah.
Yo, can someone unmute bro? Can I please get unmuted? I've been waiting to talk for an hour.
Yeah, unmute him.
Bro, can I please get? Yeah, sure. All right, what's up, man?
Muted?
Yep, you're unmuted.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
I just want to put in on you guys on sexual liberation or homosexuality. You guys talking about? I recommend this book, Libido Damadi, Sexual Liberation, Political Control by E. Michael Jones. I recommend you guys read
that. Wait, what is that book? Wait. Explain what that book is about. I actually never heard of it at all.
Oh, great.
It basically talks about how, I can explain it real quick.
Yeah.
Basically, it talks about how, as they take our personal freedoms away, sexual liberation or homosexuality, it increases or basically because you become enslaved to vice or enslaved to desire. And so if you're enslaved to desire and enslaved to vice, you can be taken, you don't have control really of your life. If you're easily controlled by desires, the government can control you. You can get controlled by anything if you're enslaved to vice.
Yeah, it falls man. It falls man pretty much.
Yes.
It makes them subject to their animalistic desires.
Yes.
Towards women too.
You become a coomer.
You become a coomer. Yes.
You become a simp.
Yeah, simp and a coomer.
Base department? Yeah, there's a base.
What I'm trying to say is that both the desire exists in both directions. I mean, I think we can agree on that men have desires towards women. I mean, that's what the norm is. So so are you saying that the desires that men have towards women and not being able to control themselves are as
you have to control them. It's sexual liberation at all. Even having sex before marriage or having multiple sexual partners, stuff like that. Even that.
Okay.
All right, guys. I think I'm heading out to go to bed, though, so I'll see you later, all right?
That's all right, Bateman. It was great to talk to you, man.
All right, stay safe.
Yeah, have a good night.
Stay safe.
Stay home. Stay home.
No, I love how I just disagree with you guys so much, but I can still have a productive dialogue, and we're not all screaming at each other, phobe, or you guys suck, or hey, yeah, I mean, I feel like
almost white nationalists.
I mean, well, I don't.
I like how spineless you got to be to talk to people for 5 days and then call them Nazis on Twitter. Give me a break. He was talking to people for 5 days in a row, and nobody like once said anything like racist at all or Nazi at all. And he just says white nationalists and Nazis are saying this and that. Like, give me a break.
I feel like a lot of these conservative
it's
people.
It's so clear how far they're willing to go to try to get deployed by Turning Point USA.
I think
that's clearly what he's trying to do.
A lot of these
is not racist.
A lot of these conning people and these fake like type of these kind of like these sneaky conservatives are always say, this person is a blankist or a blankphobe. They give us a smear just like the left does all the time. You know what it's like? It's like the Covenant Catholic kids. Charlie Kirk was against the Covenant Catholic kids in the very beginning. He derailed them and called them names and slurred at them. You know what? I think a lot of American First people and a lot of people were saying no, defend the kids. I guarantee you it's a hoax. And then we find out it's a hoax. We are right. Kirk and his conservative, local conservative ideology was wrong on that issue. Whenever you sneer somebody like that, which a lot of these conning people are doing all the time to Groypers and to all the American First Movement, it's really disgusting and really shows how weak they are in arguing with us. It really shows.
If someone's actually a Nazi, call them a Nazi. But what they're doing is they're taking like quotes out of context, which are clear quotes, clear jokes sometimes. And what they don't realize they're doing, but what happens is they say, "Oh, Nick Fuentes is a racist. Nick Fuentes is a Nazi," right? Their followers, they hear that and they say, "Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you," but they have no proof of it. And anytime someone says anything in the future, they're just labeled a Nazi or a racist automatically.
I feel like what is it called? I feel like what is it called? No, when it comes to racism or anything like that, I feel like even if someone is racist, I feel like it doesn't benefit anyone to actually call them a racist, because it instantly sparks like defensiveness and like hatred. I feel like you can have like a productive conversation with someone and like explain how you think their policies aren't correct because of whatever. But I think just smearing them with any sort of label just doesn't lead to anything productive.
Yeah, you know what I like? I like how Kirk was calling us all. This is a quotation I found actually, an audio clip of mine that I dug up. He said that the anti-immigration party of the conservative movement is dangerous. In quotations. In quotations, he said that. And then you know what happens? A couple of weeks later, a little while later, he then says he's all for the Trump immigration moratorium. He's all for it. When
he's not in the business of being conservative. He's in the business of making money.
He's just a shill. He's just a
He's
shill.
He's
a big conservative.
He does. No. People do it all the time. And I'm not going to say I admire your beliefs, because I could not disagree with more of them in more some ways. But I think people who stick by their beliefs and don't just pander to the people in power are the ones who really lead to meaningful change in a country, no matter how you believe.
What would be a good segue from this discussion? Topic censorship. Even in private companies like Instagram, Facebook. I'm pretty sure there'd be a big disagreement there. But
I think Bateman brought up a good point, though. I mean, I honestly have to really think through the fact of that social media is the public domain and it would be the public sphere, as the founding fathers would say. So I see what you're saying here. I mean, I'm not really sure, and I think the fact that government is involved on these platforms, aka President Trump has a Twitter, other politicians have Twitter, stuff like that. I mean, I know politicians specifically can't block people on Twitter, but I'm not sure, or can't block people in general. But I'm not really sure how I feel totally.
Can I add on to that? I think I can convince you to join our side about this. First off, I propose a question. Let's say you're a person who's been banned off Twitter and has no access to the news aside. Let's say the person has been blocked from all the social media or whatever, or they don't have social media because of they can't get it or they're banned or whatever. If a president has a news announcement he puts on Twitter, and it's urgent. How do you see that?
But come on now, we're not going to use Twitter to be a mass,
let's say
that's what people use, though.
But
here's a lot of people
they do.
If you don't draw the line on Twitter, it'll go to banks, it'll go to this and that. I think that Chief Trump can give you a good
however you feel about this, I hope you know that the president actually has full access to all of our phones to send out a presidential alert that will populate on your screen as a notification from the government.
I'd love to see 3 a.m. notifications that keep America great.
It's happened before. There was a test.
I love a message saying keep America great, have good sleep. I'd love to see that.
There was a test back in June. It wasn't about that.
I want to add two things also. Might change your mind. One of them is
Mr. Trump wants to hack my phone. Okay.
Just the government in general. I don't agree with it.
Hold on. Let me talk. Two things. One of them is a network effect, where basically the more people who are on a platform, the more popular it gets, and the more people consolidate around that. That network effect is really hard to go and break through. So if you have a smaller, new social media that has completely all free speech, you know what? It's gonna be very hard to get that, to become very popular because of the
Yeah,
network
that wasn't for
effect.
you.
And I also have one more thing. The AI that is used in these companies is unparalleled by everybody. But AI, this is why these companies are so popular. What the AI does is it has all these millions of users and billions of users. It takes all the data continuously and forms a stronger model off that. It forms modeling based off of all of us and creates a thing called digital profiling. So I don't know how familiar you guys with AI and all that. I'm pretty well versed about it. It makes the AI so superior to any other small companies. It's crazy. So you can be a small company and have no chance of success because of the network effect. Now everybody's consolidating around one or two or three or four platforms. Gives
Well, it
no
has to be that
chance.
way, doesn't it?
But
I
it
mean,
gives.
we
All I'm
talked
saying
about
is,
it though, because monopolies automatically happen in social media because the point of having social media is that there's a large, vast majority of people who are on them.
and
So you can't have a bunch of
the
different
point is
countries.
when people say start your own company or make your own social media platform or trust the market, you can't because of all those things I mentioned, the network effect and how AI is so strong that it makes their company virtually like unbeatable basically with any other
Uncompatible.
Yeah,
company.
can we unmute O? He's been holding his hand up for a long.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing him.
Sorry, man. Yeah, totally. O, totally. We'll go with O. All right, O. What do
You
you
got a
have to say?
question or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna unmute O. Sorry about that. There you go. You should be unmuted.
Thanks.
You got a question?
You're welcome.
Nah, just.
I think that some stuff can be censored on social media. Like, no one wants to see people getting murdered on Twitter, right? No one wants to see people getting no one wants to see random porn show up on their Instagram feed. But when someone gets banned for saying a political opinion that goes against someone else, that's ridiculous. I think that the government should step in and say, like, that's, you're suppressing their free speech, because there's millions of users on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, where it's really become a public sphere. But there can be some censorship on it, because I think everyone agrees there's a line between opinions and like public
threats,
public indecency.
Yeah. So what does O have to say? Did you already ask your question or something?
No, I'm never gonna.
You don't have a question?
So you don't have a question?
Yeah, I don't.
All right, man, that's cool. I mean, I'd be willing to leave you unmuted for a little bit if you want to jump in on anything, because you've been waiting so long. So, however you feel. All right, I think look, Zoom or Lifter. I'll unmute you for a second just to see what you have to say. Hey, you are unmuted.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go, man. You're up.
All right. So, if I just came in the call, so you guys were talking about online censorship on social media platforms, right?
A little bit, yeah.
It was mentioned.
All right. Well, I think this has probably a lot to do with the First Amendment, right? So, the spirit of the First Amendment was that it was meant to protect political speech. And obviously, it was meant to be like you have a right to the public square. It protects all speech, but specifically was meant to protect dissident political voice.
The suspense is killing me.
Yeah. The reality of the 21st century is that social media is the public platform.
But it's not government run.
That really doesn't.
I'm sorry, it's not publicly owned. That was my.
It gets subsidies and copyright's protected on there, so it is kind of in the public.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want that. I'm against that. I don't think they should get subsidies.
They're also given publisher immunity. They're given sections where they're not held responsible or viable, despite them being in editing and basically they're editorial. They should be considered editorial, where they should be reliable and held accountable for everything that they do. But they're considered a public platform. There's a difference in legality of that. So they're actually getting like exemptions from the government in some areas because of that distinction.
They're considered I have to look into that. They're considered a public platform.
They're considered that, but they should be editorial. That's what there's a whole legal argument for.
I don't believe they should be getting any special privileges from the government. I mean, I'm totally against that.
Well, they do right now.
Yeah, I'm
against that.
Yeah, I'm completely against that. That's insane. That's completely insane. I don't really think any company should be, but especially a social media company. I mean, come on.
Did you want anything else to say, Zoomer?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think this need to protect these companies' rights to just dominate what is essentially the 21st century political public square. Because what's said on Twitter, what's said on Facebook, what's said on Instagram, that affects that affects the country, the whole country.
More than the country, it affects a lot of the world. Yeah, for sure.
The fact that libertarians are willing to just say "fuck the world."
Nah, I actually no.
Right.
I think you're. No, I think you're getting confused because you said it alone that it had a lot of government subsidies and just intervention in it in general that makes it this powerful. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm strawmanning because I don't want to be, but I mean, I'm pretty. That's not what libertarians advocate for.
As far as I can tell, libertarians advocate for no government intervention within any private industry.
Yeah, but that industry has a lot of government intervention. That's why it's so powerful. I don't mean
it's not. No. Government has a lot of corporate intervention. That's why corporations are so powerful. It's the other way around. You have the relationship mixed up.
Whoa. Elaborate on that. Because we're the relationship mixed up. Yeah, come on, elaborate on that.
Okay. I mean, you want me to elaborate on the relationship between these large billion-dollar corporations and the government?
I know they have relationships. That's why I don't want the government to even have the power to be with these corporations.
Exactly.
Well, either
this guy Matthias is his hand physically raised. So.
Oh my. Okay. I mean, we can continue. I mean, I don't even know. Let's just get the question from this guy then, I guess.
All right. Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I just. No.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
makes me uncomfortable seeing this kid's hand actually raised.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, man. All right, here you go, Matthias. You're muted.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. So about the big tech censorship stuff. So I think the best, in my opinion, the best strategy to so this can all stop is obviously using the legality of it to, for example, if let's say a big tech company censors anybody unnecessarily, then what we should do is legally put him as a publisher, and I know I think you guys have heard that argument a lot of times, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was kind of advocating for a lot.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Did you have anything else to talk about or ask? Or?
Yeah, I mean, you have a question so we can get on to, because I mean,
not really.
I'm not too keen on this big tech conversation, but I would like other questions would be cool. I mean,
have you guys ever heard of?
I don't really have questions right now.
Have you guys ever heard of Jared Holt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Holt's. I think Holt's been. Holt's a good guy. I think.
Do you want me to unmute him?
What?
I don't know.
Are we talking about the same guy?
No. I'm talking about the guy in chat, not the actual Jared Holt.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the.
No, I hate Jared Holt. I think he blocked me.
Who's that?
Oh my gosh.
Who's that?
Jared Holt sucks.
Jared Holt's a loser.
Yeah,
dude, him and oh my gosh.
Gavin McGinnis trolled him so badly at that conference. Oh my god. And
yeah, he called him a glass of milk.
Trolled him great. Yeah. It looked like that sad little thing of 4 drops of milk and water or something like that. It was great what he said. Yeah, Jared Holt.
That's who we need to next time, for all the guys in this chat that all have, Groypers, next time that there's another conservative talking somewhere, that's what we need to talk about. We need to bring up Jared Holt. We need to bring up Zachary Patrizzo and all these other dudes. And we need to ask Kirk, or we need to ask Michael Knowles or whoever. We need to say, why do you associate with these people? Why do you take pictures with them? That's what we need to ask.
You know what's crazy? CPAC lets in Jared Holt and not get Milo Yiannopoulos and not other people who are conservatives. It's crazy. Nick's not allowed in there. Nick's not allowed in there. But you know what? We have Jared Holt of Right Wing Watch, the biggest enemy that conservatives have as of right now. One of the biggest enemies. They let him in, but they won't let conservatives in. It's crazy actually how hostile they are to people who are on the right or have differing views, and how accepting they are of people who are far left, like Jared Holt. It's crazy.
It's really funny.
Wait. Who's a Jared Holt figure?
Jared Holt is a Right Wing Watch reporter who really is just a hitman. He got Alex Jones off the internet. He got a bunch of these other people off. And he basically is like this. He tattletales. He's like, "Hey company, why you have this person on?" And he gets like a whole media campaign against them. And then they get kicked off platform and deplatformed. And then he smears people as the racists and all the other nonsense like that.
Oh.
It's his career. His career is defaming people and slandering people and kicking them off platforms. The most anti-conservative thing ever. Yet they're in CPAC. Guess who's not in CPAC? The Groypers in the America First movement. You see the little contrast that is it's crazy how that contrast is so evident. It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, Jared Holt was trying to go and get Jared Holt got Nick Fuentes banned a couple. Well, no, not Jared Holt. It was one of his associates, Zachary Petroza. That's that loser. He got Nick
Yeah.
Fuentes banned off of TikTok.
So
then
wait.
Jared Holt went
So
on.
wait.
Yeah, what'd you say?
This guy says, "Yes, I am Jared Holt." I have no clue who he is. This is
Whoa,
not Jared Holt.
yeah, that's pretty.
I have a
I have no
list.
clue.
Optics check. Yeah, I think that guy.
Just unmute him for a second. If he's a troll, you can just kick him.
He's a
It's
Groyper.
not.
He's a Groyper.
It's not Jared Holt.
He's a Groyper.
Yeah.
Here, what's up, man?
You're a Groyper.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Hey, I just think anybody who isn't a soy boy like Nick Fuentes and like people who are actually like, you know, brave enough to really like state like what they believe in and not just be a shill to TPUSA, that is the definition of white nationalists in my book. And those kind of people just ought to be banned completely. They shouldn't have a voice. You know, free speech doesn't exist for those people, right? I don't really.
I agree. No, we should put them in jail.
Yeah, why not? Like Alex Jones, Ashley St. Clair. Who else? Who else do we have? Any of those gropers? More like
Yeah, gropers.
Right.
Yeah.
What's a
Those
groper?
Gropers. We're all we're all racist. Those gropers, man. Nick Videos is right. We should all beat the platform and banned.
We need
Ban
to
all the
put them in
gropers.
jail. Put them in jail and make them watch.
No, guys.
Roots and Schindler's List.
No, my thing about this whole thing is, you know, I think you guys should have a platform to speak, but if people choose not to listen, that's on them.
Look,
So,
I
mean,
agree. Well, so as this kid Oliver says, check out his Instagram. You're pretty big on Instagram, man. I kind of respect the grind.
Thanks, man.
But basically, you said before when you were talking about religion that if you're gay, just be gay. Like if you don't think gay marriage should be a thing, just don't even let them live their life. Like they can do what they want when they want.
Correct.
And then you were saying how like that's the whole thing right there, and that our morality shouldn't affect others and whatnot, and that like just let them do their whole thing. But then like you're all about like, oh well, if people on Twitter, if Jack Dorsey if he's offended, then he should go ban everybody from.
No. It has nothing to do with that, and I'm actually evolving my belief here. No, what I was thinking here is that as we see with many different private businesses, I mean, you can talk about this and you can think about it differently. It's the huge big PragerU phrase. It's like, if a baker refuses to bake you a cake, find another baker. Don't refuse that the state tell him to do what to do with his private business. Now, that is the case when it comes to a private bakery. I see what you're saying, whether it's Google or YouTube, where the monopoly exists naturally, because in order to have a social media platform that's popular, there has to be a lot of users. So, I mean, I'm willing to evolve my position on that. I think it's more the fact that they are a private entity, and I mean, obviously, under our current system, private businesses should be allowed to do with whatever they.
So I have two questions. So first off, two things I want to say. One of them is that Prager University is very they're also
I don't support them. I don't support them.
I know. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying in general.
Absolutely not.
I'm saying for the audience, if you didn't know, because a lot of people with Groyper have been posting on TPUSA. I had a audio clip I released of Prager University saying they want more immigration because of basketball players. And there's a legit quote about that. I'm not even joking.
I wouldn't deny it.
And the other thing I want to say is, I asked a question, I guess, like a conceptual question for you, Oliver. Like, do you think that is there a fine line between corporations having too much power
So,
Or is
so
there any
yes, I
limit you
do.
have?
I think corporations do have too much power. Now, I disagree. I disagree with how that power is founded. I think that power is founded through the government. I think the government and corporations have this tight knit bond that keeps them up and running. I mean, we see this currently in our stimulus check when companies like Boeing are demanding $5 billion in bailouts. Otherwise, they're going to start laying off workers. I mean, we see how these large businesses without the government aren't as sustainable as we think they are. So I think if we were to remove that government regulation side and allow for smaller business to compete, now this is different on a level such as social media, because you can't really have a non-monopolizing social media platform because it undermines the whole point of having the platform that people use. But I think when it comes to other industries, I think corporations are too powerful, but I think they're too powerful because they use the federal government to keep them in power.
Hey, Oliver.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I actually agree with a lot of what you have to say as far as, how corporations got to be so powerful and how it had a lot to do with government regulation, in the past century.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion is that if you are trying to basically break down and decentralize corporate power, then the best way to do it is to take away intellectual property laws, because the vast majority of these corporations, the monopoly that they have is really a monopoly over their specific product. And if you took away intellectual property laws, then that would essentially pull the rug out from under companies like Ford or Apple. And that's a good or bad thing depending on who you're talking to. I think it's probably a good thing, because I think that
I would somewhat agree with you. I think it also is similar. You can draw a comparison to patent law and medicine. I mean, intellectual property laws, patent law, and medicine.
You can look at the insulin market. You can see the insane amount of
completely.
You can look at the price fixing. You can look at the insane amount of the patents that the FDA gives and how they favor huge businesses. It's insane.
Yeah, so again, there's a massive sort of a coalition between this lobbyist, big business class, and a lot of these governments and stuff like that. It's really evident. And it's actually sad how we have let them have so much power. Now, I think that I think there's a fundamental difference between some Groyper and some other conservatives and some libertarian perspective. Like, do we let corporations and these big businesses have so much power over us, or is it if they make a decision that's not good? Wait. The question is.
Yeah, let him finish.
The fundamental difference is whether if a corporation makes a choice that's bad for American workers or Americans, do we let the corporation do that, or does the government step in and do something to help American workers?
Listen. I'm gonna explain.
Julio, do this. Julio,
all right, yeah, all right. So I'm just to answer your question. I mean, I know you've heard this, but when we deregulate, there's obviously going to be more competition. You get governments. I mean, businesses are gonna have incentive to cater to their consumers and cater to the employees as well, because they have more competition that will treat those employees better. When those employees get treated better, when those employees see that other employees are getting treated better in other businesses, they will want to go over to those businesses. That is a smart move from those businesses, because that's how they create. That's one factor in how they create how they create wealth and how they create value. So yeah, that's basically what I have to say, and that goes for consumers and employees as well. So I mean, that's my thing with that. I mean, that's basically it. I mean,
all right, I'm gonna unmute Zoomer Lifter because he seems to be.
I think we should unmute more people, because I feel like people have their hands up for a while.
For sure, I'm trying to unmute you.
Let's
all right.
What's
I'm gonna unmute Jada as well, because she's had her hand up for a while.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, I guess. So what's your question? If you said thank you, do you have a question?
Do you want to start a new topic?
I mean, sure, why not? Wait 1 second, Jada. I think Zoomer Lifter was a little bit wanted to address something.
Zoomer. Yeah, let him address something.
Zoomer Lifter.
Yeah. I think the guy before mentioned about how he was talking about how companies would have to compete for workers because if one company treated their employees better than another, they would. Could you repeat what you were saying just real fast?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll kind of summarize it in a little bit of a shorter time. All right. So how the free market would work is if one company was treating their employees or consumers bad, or they're giving their consumers a bad product or doing these things, is saying that there will be less regulation. There would be more competition. So that would equal that competition would have to treat their employees better if they want to keep those employees. That's what I'm saying. If they want to keep their employees, they would have to give them at least decent conditions. That's what I'm saying. They would have to give them good conditions.
Are you like a what's the word, a Hoppian type of libertarian, where you like are a like strict immigration hawk, or are you like
he's not.
I don't have a. I don't really. I don't really know. You can ask me questions and
libertarian.
Because your reasoning doesn't really hold up if there's mass immigration coming into the country, because then the employers have an unlimited labor pool to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
And mentioning
well, no, we already discussed this.
Yeah, we discussed this. You want to go back? I'm not really talking about immigration right now, but we already talked about this. This is kind of
it comes down to here. I want to address something when it comes.
You can address this.
The biggest thing it comes down to is the fact that people say that immigrants coming into this country are going to be a threat to the American workers. the biggest flaw in that argument is that you are assuming that there's a fixed amount of labor and jobs in this country, when that's simply not true. Because as more people come into work, there will have to be expansion among corporations, not even just corporations and businesses, to allocate the proper resources and ability to make more profit. Because production equals consumption. Therefore, we're going to need more workers in general.
Also, we can see. Wait! I got you with something. Wait! Can I just add on real quick to what he said before you
done?
Wait! Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, so also we can see in some kind of aspects, we can see with doctors. I think it's the American some medical something. They actually regulate the amount of doctors that can be. And I think in a certain, I don't really know, but they actually regulate the amount of doctors in certain fields. So that's one little thing for you.
Okay, so all I want to say was that I'm actually gonna head out because I have to go.
Oh yeah, got
I'm gonna head
out. But I would say, if anything, Oliver, if you're curious about those clips I had, I have it up there on Twitter. Well, if you want to see the actual one,
cheap.
Yeah, and Oliver, if you want to, I don't know if you're gonna be doing it tomorrow, but if you do it tomorrow, I'll be back on, and we can, and everybody can come. And I think more people will be on
too.
Yeah, for sure.
I see no reason to not have these every night. So I'm free. So
before I go, I would say that my Twitter, if you want to see only the dirt and the other more audio clips, it's updates_dirt. My main is Chief Shumster, and I do expose work, and I kind of undercover some conning characters, and I kind of expose them for what they are. But I will see you guys later. It was great talking with you guys.
Yeah, for sure, completely.
Yeah, America first. Let's do it.
All right.